Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Blog Talk Radio.
Down goes Frazier! It's over the wall. It's a home run for Bucky Beck. Fumble. Giants have it. Lawrence Taylor struck the ball. Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
Welcome to the Hot Rocket Sports Studios and another edition of the weekly video recap. On March 31st,
And that's my cue to start the show. Welcome to another Thursday night edition of the Hard Rockin' Sports Show, live from high atop Hard Rockin' Sports Studios in beautiful scenic Monroe, New Jersey. We are your 3-hour weekly get-together where we bring you all the biggest news from around the worlds of hard rock, heavy metal, and, of course, the wide world of sports. And, guys, thanks for tuning in on this Thursday, the first Thursday in September of the year of our Lord 2021. Yes, we are September, and somebody flipped the switch. Yesterday was 90-something degrees. We had a huge rainstorm, and today was in the 70s, and it was a beautiful day. I hope everybody came out of the storm okay. A lot of rain. I got a little bit of trouble getting to work, but there's so many people who are devastated by this storm last night, in Jersey especially. I know a lot of my crew couldn't get to the job today. Rained, everything was rained out. People flooded. So I hope everybody turned out is okay. And hopefully you'll be okay ready for a nice, beautiful Labor Day weekend and the end of the unofficial end of summer. So I am glad you tuned in with us this Thursday night. We got a lot to talk about. I'm going to be solo for the first hour. Jeff had a passing in his family, so he's out of the wake, and he'll be joining me in the 8 o'clock hour. So it's me and you, and a lot of sports and music talk. Kasim Sulton, bass player to the Stars, will be joining me about 7:45. So Jeff may catch the end of Kasim. And that's it. It's just a lot of football talk. Let's see what we got. So we got Giants and Jets heading into the final week before the season starts. The Mets had a bad week, to say the least. The Yankees, anything would have been a downside to where they were, but have a nice win last night. But we'll get some Yankee talks. We'll talk about Reggie Bush, some NFL news and notes. Let's see, college football, the NFC East, AFC East, and everything that goes with it. Lots to get to tonight. I'm not sure where I want to start. I do know where to start. First off, we always do a little something on the social/political end. So I'm going to say a quick one. So anybody watching this Afghanistan debacle, you can't look at this guy as president and think that he's got it. He's all there. If you're happy you voted for him, good for you. I would say you should be embarrassed because the guy's not there. Again, everybody's trying to turn this into, well, Trump. It has nothing to do with Trump. Trump made a decision, made a deal with the Taliban to get out. There was all sorts of preconditions that they had to meet to get us out. And that was it. And then it was up to Joe Biden. And it was a simple process to get out. Send in more troops, show of force, make sure everybody gets to the airport who wants to get to the airport. If you want to stay, you stay. If you don't, you don't. You take whatever you can with you. Anything you're not taking, you blow it up. You leave them nothing behind. And you go home with everybody. Even if they were surprised that the Afghan 300,000 person, $1 trillion trained U.S. Army bailed out. Okay, again, even if you were surprised by that, you had every opportunity to send in as many troops as you want, set up a perimeter. Should never give up the air base we had there and go to the civilian air base. So let's be honest, he fumbled it. He flat out fumbled it. He's inept. And again, he's president for 3 years, 3 more. I'm hoping he turns it around, does a good job. But so far, the guy's a disaster. And that's all I got to say. So we do a little bit of that every week. I got to tell you what I feel, how I see it. So again, if you voted for me, you're happy. Good for you. I'm watching, and it's 9 months in, and gas prices are way up, inflation's up. People, his polling is tremendously down. And if you spent 3 seconds watching TV and you didn't figure out that he mishandled this and how we look, you're not watching. You don't want to watch. And I know Orange Man Bad tweets and all that stuff. Who cares? We were safe. And we are no longer safe with this bozo in the White House. So again, guys, I hope everything's good. I hope you're having a good day. We'll get to a lot of sports now. So again, let's get to some. How I want to kick the show off. Let's see. So guys, I hope you guys have a great weekend. Labor Day's here, barbecues and all that good stuff. So I hope you're out there getting ready for one, and we'll kick it right off. So let's kick it off with a little. I think I'm going to go college football. See if my dad pops up. We'll do some baseball. So college football week 0 kicked off last week with my Nebraska Cornhuskers taking one on the chin. Same old Nebraska problems. The quarterback is just not good enough. He's not a terrible player, great athlete. He'll make, but the guy, I've never seen a quarterback who missed so many open receivers in my entire life. Adrian Martinez is a fantastic athlete. And Patrick, I'm with you. But Frost, Adrian Martinez, you expect something. It's 3 years now. I know last year he split some time with what's his name? I can't think of the kid's name. He moved on now to 2 other schools since then. It'll come to me. But anyway, but again, same problems. Defensively, they're just not good enough. And offensively, they just don't scare you. They don't run the ball well enough. And when they score, it's usually off a big broken play. Martinez can run. I think he scored on a 75-yarder last week. And they should have beat Illinois. And I have to tell you, there was a play. It was a turning point in the game where Nebraska, I think the game was tied, if I'm not mistaken, 9-9 at that point. And Nebraska was all over Illinois. They knocked out the starting quarterback. And they ran a blitz. It was a safety blitz or corner blitz, and the corner hit the quarterback on time, but he drove him to the turf. Now, it wasn't, he didn't drive him 5 yards back and pull the legs out. He drove him to the turf. He hit him hard and took him down. And it was a pick on the other end. And turned out they called a flag for I guess, roughing the quarterback. He sneezed on him or something. I don't know. And they get the ball back. They get 15 yards. I think there was a 15-yard unsportsmanlike on top of that, and they wound up scoring and changed the whole momentum of the game. Now, having said that, Nebraska still should have won the game. They were a better team. They played like crap. And, I love Scott Frost from his days as a quarterback for Penn State, lead them to a national championship. I think Scott Frost did a great job at Central Florida. But, I just don't know if his offensive scheme works here. Nebraska, I almost think, go back. If you don't have the quarterback, then you got to go with works. And it should be then go to the option. Go back to old school football. Pound them. Do something different. But you're trying to fit your square peg in another round hole. And Scott Frost did a great job, but he had better players. He had a quarterback. He had a team around him that was good offensively. This Nebraska team is just not good enough. And this is year 4. And, at some point he's got, you pray and hope that they don't give up too soon, because you don't want to piss off and cut the legs out from a guy who's, I wouldn't say he's a legend, but Scott Frost is a pretty big name in Nebraska law. And I think he's a great coach. And I watched the game and I can't say that I went, he shouldn't have did that or he shouldn't have did this. But, at some point, they're just not getting the athletes they used to, especially in the skill positions. You just don't see the quarterback go there. You just don't see the running backs anymore. So, as a Nebraska fan, I will tell you guys, I don't know what to expect of the season yet. It's still early. It's only 1 week. We can obviously turn it around. We'll check the schedules. We'll talk a lot more Nebraska football. I know you probably don't care, but I love Nebraska football, so I'm going to talk about it. But again, let's talk a little bit. My dad just popped up, so I want to get on and talk a little baseball with Dad. Real quick on college football, and I'll get back to it after Dad, is in Alabama. Guys, I've never seen anything like it. Now, is it the same as the pros? I don't know, because with a couple right decisions here and there, you can build a team with some free agents, a couple good drafts. We all look at what Belichick's done over there in New England. There's been other teams who've been on great runs. You can look at New Orleans. We can look at a few teams, the Packers. But college football, I mean, I think the guys won 6 titles there. You're getting. It's like I can tell you right now, Alabama, short of a couple of injuries, is going to be in the national title game, and it's every year. Now, I think college football has to fix it. Now, I'm not a big fan of expanding the playoffs, but I think you're going to have to, because right now it's Ohio State, Clemson, Alabama, and then either Georgia or Notre Dame or LSU or Oklahoma State. And I think it's, college football is going to do something to get everybody's attention. Kind of like baseball did with the extra wild card. Football's done with the extra wild cards. They've decided that they want to get to September in those sports, or their last month, and have more people involved. And college football's got to be the same, because you lose a couple of games early, and who's going to the games? If you're in the Pac-10, Pac-12, and you lose a couple of games early, the season's over. So I think college football's got to find a way, and it's probably expanding the playoffs. That way, more teams can get in. But there's no shortage of accolades to give Alabama. I mean, they just keep rolling out the plays. Now, again, you win. All the great players want to go there. I get it. So it obviously makes it easier. You're selling your university that people just want to keep buying, and players want to go there. But still, at the end of the day, there's a lot of guys who want to go to LSU. There's a lot of great players who want to go to Oklahoma State or Georgia, and they don't win as consistently as Alabama, even Clemson, and Ohio State. They have their down times. What is Clemson going to be the same now without Trevor Lawrence and Najee Harris? I don't know. It's a great question. We're going to see how it plays out. And I'm going to go through a little bit more I'm going to do a little more college football and some baseball in the first hour, since I won't have Jeff. Jeff's not completely into that end of it. So I'm going to get to a lot more, do a little more college football. But let's get my dad on. And I hope you guys have had a great week. And I'm hoping that you guys have a great end of the summer, unofficial end of the summer weekend. And remember that this show, while on our show, Facebook page and YouTube page, and you can also catch replays on Spotify. You can now catch it on SportsWire, on the SportsWire network, usually on Monday nights about 5:00. And Tom and Tom Rice and the staff do a great job of promoting the show. And they have a great lineup during the week. There's some fun shows, so make sure you check out SportsWire. And I'm going to give you some of the. I'm going to give you the sportitarium.com/player ! So make sure you check out SportsWire with a Z, Sports with a Z, Wired. And they're a great network of shows, lots of fun. And remember that on September 12th, a week from this Sunday, myself and Jeff and our third wheel, Mr. John Marhefka, will be doing our own version of the NFL pregame shows with the Sunday Audible, which we will do every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. We'll talk football and give you our best bets and our games of the week, fantasy lineups. We'll do all of that in about an hour and change every Sunday morning on the SportsWire network. I think we're also going to live stream it so we can do some highlights and stuff like that. So, again, keep an eye on the Hard Rock and Sport Network. We'll give you lots of information on that show, this show, and everything else. And, of course, make sure you check out us on SportsWire on Monday nights and on Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. So let's get my dad on. Let's see what he wants to talk about. Yankees. I don't know if he's going to the Giants. I don't know if he's going to go to the Mets. We got a potpourri with Dad. You never know. Let's get my pops on. What's up, Pop?
What's up, Tommy? How you doing? How's everything?
I'm good, Pops. I'm good. Just kicking in here, getting ready to talk a little sports. What's on the plate today? What do you want to talk about?
I was just watching during the week.
Mm-hmm.
They're making a big deal about the Mets and them booing the fans. I mean, it's very comical.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's not a sport and there's not a ball player around that hasn't been booed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've seen Mickey Mantle, and I'm not lying, come out of the dugout and jump into the stands trying to get to somebody because they booed him. They were called. I mean, they booed Babe Ruth. They boo everybody.
Sure.
Okay. And if the players want to boo back, I mean, it sounds kind of childish.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I agree with you. The players have every right to do it, but it's stupid. You can't win. You know what I'm saying? You can't win. So you're supposed to play well. If you don't, and I'll give credit to a couple of guys. Giancarlo Stanton just got booed all year. Chapman booed all year. And they took it. You never heard a peep from them. And they came out, and now people are cheering them because they played especially Stanton has played really well. and you get cheered. And that's, you know what? And that's the name of the game. You're going out there, they're paying you millions of dollars. You play well, the fans are going to be behind you. If you don't, they're going to tell you you're overrated, overpaid, and they're going to boo you, and you have to deal with it. But if you're going to be Javi Baez, yeah, and if you're going to be Javi Baez and Francisco Lindor, and you're going to tell them, well, this is sticking to the fans, well, you're stupid because you're not going to win that battle.
No, you're not. You're not going to. It's stupid. I don't know if they do that for publicity. Because you can't tell me a grown man is going to get upset because somebody booed him. You're not taking it personally.
You know what? That's the ego. It's the ego. Listen, nobody wants to be ridiculed. Nobody wants to be booed. But when you're paying Francisco Lindor, $30-something million a year to perform, and you stink, well, then expect to get paid. The guy in the stands who's getting paid $75,000 to $100,000 a year, who's costing him $500 to take him and his two kids to a game, for tickets and everything else, and you go there and you stink. Well, guess what's going to happen? You're going to get booed. Deal with it. You want to fix it? Win games, play good baseball.
Well, I think that, to be honest with you, and I have to agree with some people, they call it that's more for management. But management for the Mets have always been let them do whatever they want to do.
Well, I thought Alderson did the right thing. Alderson put it out and said, "Hey, I'm going to have a conversation with these guys because we can't have that." And again, the players have every right.
What's going on?
Oh,
this wasn't just 1 or 2 games.
No. Just I agree with you. The problem is that they never told anybody what it meant. And then when they finally came out, and Baez came out and finally said, well, this is our reaction to the fans. So when we play well, we boo you. And you're ridiculous. The fans want to cheer you, but they stunk. They were 2-13 against the good teams. They come home now. They're beating up on the Marlins. They beat up on a little bit on the Nationals. Who cares? You had a chance to play the two best teams in baseball, and you got punched in the mouth. So you're not a good team.
Yeah, no, it's very, from both sides, from the ball players mostly. It's very childish.
It is. You're not going to sit there and tell 40-something.
And I can't boo you.
Right.
Listen, I sat in the stands, and I watched the guy, and you were at the game.
Uh-huh.
As a matter of fact, you and your brother.
Uh-huh.
And there was a guy in the stands a few rows up, booing the hell out of Frank Robinson, calling him every name in the book. You can't hear, it's not dirty or anything, but I pay your salary, you're a bum, you ain't work.
Right.
And Robinson just stopped, kept staring at the guy.
Right.
Never said a word, never did anything. When he walked by, he just smiled at him. And he must have said, yeah, that's why I'm getting paid all this
right.
money. And you're paid to come see me. And that's the way you have to look at it.
Absolutely. And at the end of the day, you know what? You have to. The players have to realize that their salary comes pretty much directly from these people who are sitting in the stands night in and night out, 80 games a year to pay your salary to watch you play. And when you don't perform, you're going to hear it. And there's no other way about it. And you know what? The truth is, if you're a ball player, you want nobody wants the fans to show up and just be, blah. Or you know what? Have their stadium. What would be better if the stadium was full of Miami Marlin fans or Washington National fans, and then you won't get booed, but the team's gonna get cheered for. What's better? Think about it. You go to a Giant game a lot of years in December. They play the Cowboys. The stadium's full of Cowboy fans. That's worse.
I think it's stupid. You can't tell me somewhere along the line playing. The minors, A ball, B, double A, whatever, that they never will boo. Come on, stop.
Of course they were.
As a grown man can't tell me that it upsets him to be booed. Come on. Now, if you start getting personal, personal is one thing. Throwing things is another thing.
Sure.
But to stand there and boo somebody and say it hurts my feeling, you got to be an idiot.
I agree.
You have to be a total idiot.
I agree.
It must be.
I agree, but it's the egos. Now, think about these guys getting paid $30 million a year. They're coddled every single day. They don't lift the bag. And then all of a sudden they go show up and they play a game, and they expect everybody to cheer for them when they're batting 200, leaving 12 guys on base a game. So that's what you're dealing with. And
guys bat 300, miss, not be able to advance a run and not to bring them in from third, and they get booed. What's the big deal? The great disinfectant is a base hit.
Yeah.
It'll cleaning everything right up. The next time up, if you get a base hit, they'll be kissing you and hugging you all over the place.
Well, you saw it. Bias scored the winning run on a nice play the next game, and they were cheering up a storm for the guy. So you know what? Shut your mouth. I agree. I agree. But at the end of the day, the fans want to win. The fans want to see a winner. Doesn't matter. And at the end of the day, if he would have just shut his mouth, they would have booed him the night before. The next day, he scores the run. They would have been cheering him. They would have carried him off the field on their shoulders if they could have.
Yeah, I guess.
So,
yeah, you're dealing with grown men.
Absolutely.
This is not college.
But this is typical Mets. You said it. Yes, this is typical Mets. The Mets can make a mess out of any situation. I mean, you got the best pitcher in baseball. He goes through 7 MRIs. There's nothing wrong with his arm, and he still can't pitch. Syndergaard goes through all this rehab. He gets ready. He's doing his work to get to. He does his first rehab start, and he gets COVID. He's out for 10 days. The Mets just have a way. Same team, different owners, and they have the same way of just botching everything. And I don't know if they do. I think they need an exorcism. They got to go down there with a couple priests, a couple rabbis, sprinkle some holy water on the field.
If you look back on their time, they've always done it.
Yeah.
You go back to the '86 Mets. They had one of the best teams in baseball,
Mm-hmm.
and yet they only won one championship.
Yes.
Why is that?
Oh,
because they were more happy having a party.
Yes.
Strawberry said it. He said we would rather party than play baseball.
Oh.
They went on an airplane, a private plane. They ripped the thing apart.
Yeah.
They ripped the whole. They were selling drugs. They were fighting. I mean,
yeah. No, listen. The Mets have found a way through their time to screw a lot of things up and never put together consistent winners. And I get it. So yeah, it just seems like you're sitting here blessed with with absolutely the best pitcher in baseball, and for some reason you can't figure it out why he can't play anymore. He just can't pitch, and to me it's a simple thing. He's not a big guy, and he throws 100 miles an hour on every pitch. His arm's going to hurt, and unless they figure out how to dial that back. Yeah.
Koufax was the same way when he finally learned how to pitch. He's not a big guy, small guy.
Yeah.
And the arthritis ruled his elbow. And they told him, if you pitch one more year, you're going to walk out of here crippled. You won't even be able to write your name.
Yeah, and that's the shame of it.
The minute they said Syndergaard had it,
DeGrom.
The minute he had his arm, you knew he was finished with.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to do MRIs. We're going to find out. Oh, we didn't find any. No, your arm doesn't hurt for no reason at all.
Well, again, there's got to be stuff. Either that, or he's got. You throw 100 miles an hour for 60 pitches, 80 pitches in a game. Your arm's going to bother you. So maybe that seriously, he's just one of those guys who, unless he's 110%, can't pitch. You know what I mean? There's a lot of guys that have pitched with bad elbows, bad shoulders. They gut it out. He just may be a guy who can't do that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Another Frank Tanana.
Correct. Good one. Yeah. I mean, there's just guys. There are guys who could have a broken leg, and you'd find a way to get out there. And there's some guys who can't, and he just may be that guy. So I don't know.
I feel bad for him because he's a damn, like you say, he is the best. There's no doubt he's the best.
Oh, absolutely. But his legacy will never be what it should be, because it'll always be, he was great, but because he can't be on the field. And if I'm the Mets, I unless they creep back into this really, really close, I think you got to shut him down and figure it out, because putting him out there ain't helping. So
it's a shame.
Yep. Absolutely.
I don't know. They got a team that you look at them and you think they should be better than what they are. And
it was hidden. It was hidden by who they were playing in their division. I mean, the Mets were not a great team, but they were in a terrible division. The division caught up and passed them. And now they're 6.5 or 7 games out of first place.
There was nobody under 500.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a sense. Like I said, right now they've been. They've done really well this week, beating up on the Nationals and the Marlins, who were terrible teams. And when they had a chance to say, you know what, let's show what we got, and they played the Giants, the Dodgers, at home and on the road, 13 of 15 games. They got their head handed to them, and that showed them that they're just not a good team.
That's a shame.
Yeah, we'll see. But
What else is that? Anything else good?
no, everything's else is good, pops. I mean, like I said, Jeff's out for a little while, and he'll be back about 8 o'clock, 8:30. Yeah. If, he had an aunt of his passed away, so he was going to the wake for a little while tonight, and he'll probably pop in after 8 o'clock. But he's good. But everything's good. Everything's fine here. I heard you stop. I just missed you guys, so I'm sorry to see that. But
we just came over. Me and Mommy, we want to see if you get some pictures. We got some pictures done.
Yep.
So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, no, everything's good.
All
But
right, I just figured I'd call in.
no, I love it.
Let you know what's going on.
Thanks, pops.
And, hopefully, I'll see you over the weekend.
You will definitely see us over the weekend. We'll figure something out. We'll see what you guys are up to, and we'll make a plan for something.
Talk to you that time.
You got it,
Have a good
pops.
one, buddy.
See you later. That's my dad. Checks in every week with us. I love talking baseball with him. Let me finish with the Mets. So real quick, the Mets are the Mets, and when I say that, I sincerely mean that. I think obviously the Mets want to win. Obviously the Mets, try to put the best product out there, but they keep stumbling over themselves, and just no matter what happens, they just seem to come up short. And yeah, I'm looking at this thing on the screen right now. DeGrom highest average velocity, 99.2. That's great, but the guy's throwing his arm out. And there's obviously a reason that he can't pitch. They can't find anything structural in him. So either they got the worst doctors, the worst MRI techs, or they, otherwise, or he's just a hypercontract, and the guy can't. Then terrible swing by Alonso. But this Met team, listen, I think the Mets have to do some serious thinking at the end of the season. And do you try to bring back Syndergaard? I wouldn't. Can you bring back Conforto? You can. You just can't give him the money he's going to want. I mean, he's got Boris. The guy's going to ask for the moon. Will somebody give it to him? I don't think so. Maybe overpay for a year or two. I just think what you see is what you get. I don't think he's a great player. I think he's a very good player. It's the same thing as David Wright. David Wright was a very good player, but because he was a homegrown Met, the first Met to start and finish his career, everybody wanted to paint him with the possible Hall of Fame brush, or he just going to miss making all. David Wright was a better than average player. He wasn't a great player. Maybe the injuries robbed him. I don't know. But David Wright, to me, was never the best player at his position in baseball. I don't even know if he was a top 20, 25, 30 player in baseball. He was a very good player. And because he was a homegrown Met, but that's the same with Conforto. People want to have that. They want to have the next Jeter. They want to have the next Mickey Mantle. They want to have, the next, I'm trying to think of another homegrown Yankee. Another Mariano Rivera. I get it. It doesn't happen every day. So the Mets have some serious things. Do they want to tender Syndergaard and Conforto? I wouldn't. I would move on. I mean, it's time to maybe move on for McNeil and J.D. Davis. What do you do next year when Robinson Cano sneaks his head out there? I think the Mets have to bite the bullet, cut Robinson Cano, cut him loose, pay the money. He's got it. Change the culture of this team. Again, you're going to build around Lindor. You got to hope that half of last year's season and this year are an anomaly, and that he's going to get better. But the likelihood is it might not be. He's a great fielder. He's a good presence on the team. He may still help them win, but he's batting 220, 11 homers and 40 RBIs. That ain't cutting it from a guy getting paid $341 million. It just ain't. So, they need more. I like McCann behind the plate because he's a good defensive catcher, and I could take a weaker bat in that spot. I'll take a weaker bat, but you can't have a weaker bat everywhere else and behind the plate. You got to fix the outfield. Okay. Dom Smith has not played well. I'm not a huge fan of Alonso at all. I think he's a good hitter. I don't think he's a great fielder. He's not terrible. But he'd be great as a DH if his ego can deal with it. So, but there's a lot of holes on this team right now, and need to be plugged. So we'll see what the Mets do across the town. Yankees are going to get home. Hopefully, they're going to feast on Baltimore. And guys, Hard Rockin' Sports 347-826-9934 is the phone number if you want to listen in or call in on that line. I'm getting ready for my interview with Rock and Roll Staten Island Rocker and Bassist to the Stars, Mr. Kasim Sulton, who will be joining me in, I think, about 10 minutes. So looking forward to getting Kasim on. Jeff will be on a little after that, so I'm looking forward to that. That number looks very familiar. Why do I know that number? Hold on a second, folks. I got to check something out right here. I see numbers pop up on my screen, and I got to check them out. Let's see. Let's dial that one out. Why is Jeff calling on the hotline? He must be listening in. Anyway, so the Yankees are going to try to get fattened up against the Orioles because they need to. So again, listen, the Yankees played great, 13 in a row. They were like 28-3 or 4 or 5 after the All-Star break. You know, split with the Braves. Then they split with who they just played. They just played. No, I'm sorry. It was the Angels and the A's. They split with the A's. Then they split with the Angels. So again, 4-game losing streak. They won last night. They need to feast on these next few games against Baltimore and Toronto. The big difference between the Yankees and Tampa is I think Baltimore is like 16-1, something ridiculous against Baltimore, and the Yankees were like 12-5. Oh, Jeff wants me to pick him up. I don't know if I should pick him up. He technically he's just a caller right now. Technically you're just a caller right now. You're not the co-host of the Hard Rock and Sports Show. I don't have to pick you up.
I understand that, but I just wanted to tell you that as a listener's perspective,
yes,
I'm just listening to the show and I'm ready to give you some constructive criticism.
Oh, I'm all for constructive criticism. Go ahead.
All right, the Giants suck.
Uh-huh.
We'll start with that.
Okay.
And then I'm going to tell you how later on I'm going to introduce Zarisms.
Well, wait, but how's that constructive criticism for me?
Well, you're a Giant fan and you're wasting time.
Oh, so that's my constructive. I got you. Okay. And what is this? Explain to everybody your Zarisms. Is that what you're calling it? Zarisms?
That's what I said, man.
You'll explain that to me and all of our listeners later what a Zarism is?
Yes, later on when I come on the air.
Okay.
I'm just leaving the place where I left. I got to go to the store, grab something to eat real quick, and then I'll be on a little after 8 where I will lay some Zarism on you.
We're dying to hear it, so we can't wait. Please hurry home, chew your food very well, please, and then please get on quick because we're dying to know what a Zarism is.
I'm not picking my teeth though. I'm going to save that for the air.
All right. Well, we wouldn't expect it. We're used to seeing this the remnants in the beard. So if it hangs in the teeth, it's even better.
Yeah, there you go.
You go. Yeah. So and I want to say thank you for jumping in the middle of this and ruin my momentum.
Well, no. You can get right back in there.
You sure?
Yeah, let's talk about something else, like how Saquon Barkley is going to ruin the season.
Here we go. Is really what you're going to go with? Saquon Barkley is going to ruin the season. Listen.
Yeah.
Listen, the Giants.
Did you know that Joe Judge said that he's not playing anybody that hasn't got hit yet in the preseason? You know what that means, don't you?
I have no idea.
That means Barkley ain't playing again until next year.
Oh, so he's out for the season already? You're predicting that Saquon Barkley will not play one down for the Giants this year?
No, listen. Your coach, Joe Judge, said that he's not playing anybody that didn't get at least one hit in the offseason. How many hits did Barkley get? He won't even give you a straight answer if he's even coming in for the first game or not.
That is just being coy. You don't want to. Why would you give your? Listen, if the Giants have Saquon Barkley or they don't, it's a big difference in the strategy for the game. So he's not giving his opponent 2 weeks to figure out how to stop Saquon. Now you got to guess whether Barkley's playing or not. It's shrewd strategy by my coach.
First of all, how do you stop Saquon Barkley? I know. Just let him run the ball because he don't get no fucking yards.
Here we go.
The guy's horrendous.
Here we go.
He's horrendous. Yeah, all right, listen. Typical Saquon Barkley. Okay? Rushes 30 times, gets 35 yards. Maybe a touchdown. Then he gets injured.
That's typical. That's what you're going with?
Listen. So the proof is in the pudding.
I would tell you, you poll your NFL analysis polls lower than Joe Biden's Afghan coverage.
I don't know about that. I think you're scraping for that one. That one's just wrong. That one's just wrong.
You know, I was debating whether to pick you up, and I should have debated more. I definitely should have debated more. But that's okay.
No. I should have been on since the start. I should have called from where I was and said, "Listen, everybody, be quiet. I got to do this," and put you on speakerphone.
Yeah. We needed this. We needed this NFL analysis of yours. Without it, I'd be lost right now.
And I need to know.
And
what is our Israeli numbers this year?
Our Israeli numbers are stayed the same. We're not quite 8. We're not quite 8 in Israel right now. Our numbers in the Ukraine and I think the UK have picked up, but our numbers in the US gone down slightly because those numbers have gone up a little bit, and we've picked up. We've stayed the same in Israel. The Hard Rock and Sports Show in Israel is still pulling almost an 8 share, so we're all right.
That is an unbelievable number, man.
Yes, we are still popular. We are still popular in Israel, so thank God for that. And Ukraine and the rest of them, Canada, our numbers are doing really well in Canada, so I'm happy. So
I wish Canada would send us some maple syrup, but I'm almost at the store.
Okay.
So I'm going to hang up now. I'm going to go get some food real quick,
Okay.
just some cold cuts for a quick sandwich.
Huh?
And then I'm going to eat, get changed, and I'll be on.
You got it. I'm sure everybody's hanging on bated breath to get your analysis. But listen, go eat your dinner, and I'll see you on the show. I'll see you on the show in a few minutes.
What time is Kasim Sulton coming?
He just popped up, so he'll be coming on in about the next 3 minutes. I'm about to intro him.
All right. It's what it is.
I will tell him you said hello.
Yes, please.
You got it. Go get your dinner, and I'll see you in a little while.
All right, man, later.
Later. That's Jeff. He's the co-host of the show. He's running a little late tonight, so he popped in real quick. Again, guys, Hard Rocket Sports, 347-826-9993 and 4. Happy to have everybody on the radio side. Of course, we are live via live stream on our Facebook and YouTube pages. You can go to Spotify.com, go to the podcast section. You can look up Hard Rock and Sports, and you'll find 400-plus episodes with Lita Ford, Geezer Butler, Jeff Tate, George Foreman, Pete Rose, all of the 200 guests we've had on the show over the past 7 years. We just celebrated 7 years on the air. And, of course, during the week, this show will be replayed on the Sports Wire Network. And thanks to Tom and everybody down there. That's usually Monday nights. You can catch this show again on Sports Wire. And, again, remember, we'll be doing the Sunday Audible show every Sunday morning at 9 o'clock, talking football with Jeff, part-time. And, of course, our good friend, John Marhefka, the president of RFL Records. So John will be joining me every Sunday talking football. So I'm looking forward to that. We got a lot of stuff coming up. Jack Frost is going to be joining us in a couple weeks. So lots of good guests coming up. And, of course, I got a great guest hanging on the line. I'm not going to make him wait any longer. He's way too important. And, of course, it's about 2 years since we've spoken to him. Last time was live at Juicy Lucy at Staten Island. We were celebrating 5 years on the air, and he was nice enough to come on down and spend a little time with us. And, of course, right now he is out here promoting his new project, which is, Kasim 2021. And his new single I just listened today, More Love, great sound. Very Beatle-esque to me. Very Beatle-esque on that song. Something that I would expect to hear from the Beatles, but a great tune. And we're going to get more about his live stream event and so much more going on. Let's get on I want to say our good friend, but a friend of the show, been on plenty of times, Mr. Kasim Sulton.
You can say good friend. That's fine.
You're a big superstar. It's hard for us little guys to, you're a Staten Island guy, so I could say a little bit. How's that?
The minute I start thinking that I'm a big star, that's a problem.
Well, it tells me in the press release, bass player to the stars. I mean, of course,
yeah.
It's hard to do. But Kasim,
I have been blessed in my career. I have done a lot of things with a lot of different people. So I'm a very lucky person.
And you know what? It's for a lot of hard work and incredible talent. So you've well deserved. And I want to get to a couple of those things, but I want to talk about I haven't seen you in 2 years. We met down at Juicy Lucy a couple of years back. You helped us celebrate 5 years, and we're just celebrating 7. So thank you for
congratulations.
It's great to keep doing this. And it's how has it been for you? I love to ask all our musical guests during the last year. You know, some have said, well, of course, it's a tragedy what we're going through, and it's tough. Some of them said they've been able to channel some of their music and be able to sit back and write a whole bunch of stuff. Others said it kind of helped. It hurt them because it, didn't give them the chance to get out there and play and try new things. How did the last year go for you?
It's a mixed blessing. It was not a whole lot of live work, but I busied myself with finishing up a record that I had started in 2018, and at the time I spent more time at home than I ever have in the last 45 years, and I was itching to get back to live performing. I love live performing so much, but there really wasn't a whole hell of a lot of it over the last 18 months. It's just starting to come back now.
I see that you got 3 shows that I saw out there. You're going to be in September 12th in Westchester, PA. September 14th at Pauling, New York, Daryl's house.
Yeah.
And September 17th in Irving, PA at the Lamp Theater. We'll give some websites so people can check in on how to get tickets and all that. Now, I see you're going to be doing a live stream event next Thursday. So are you going to perform during that, or is it just?
Yeah, I am. The live stream is in conjunction with the release of the record. It's kind of a pre-release party. So we decided that we were going to do everybody these days is just doing streaming events. So we're going to have a DJ. Very, very close friend of mine, Maria Melito from Q104, is coming down and helping to launch the record. And I'm really excited, very, very excited about it. So I'll be taking some audience questions, some questions from Maria, and talking about the making of the record and what I'm doing. We're premiering the second single from the record on the 9th of September. Song called Fast Car, which is the next single from on the record, Kasim 2021, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Now let's talk a little bit about the making of, but I want to talk about Kasim 2021. Okay, the first single that I got to hear right now, More Love, very Beatlesque to me. I don't know where. I'm sure that somewhere down the line there's a Beatle influence on there. Give me a little take on the making of it. Was, being home and writing this and producing this, did you labor over it because you had so much time? Was it more easy to do because you were home? Sometimes I think that, if you're just rushing through it a little bit, you're getting it out. You're not sitting and thinking of every note, every song, every word. Was it overdone a little bit?
This record, unlike a lot of my past records, I produce my own records.
Okay.
The last record that I worked with a producer on was my first solo record in 1981.
Wow.
And I worked with Bruce Fairburn on that record. He's a very famous record producer. And in any case, I decided to do this record with my good friend and co-writer, writing partner, a guy by the name of Phil Thornalley from London. Phil has produced a ton of really, really successful records. And Phil and I have been writing on and off over the last 30 years together. So he said, if you're thinking of doing another solo record, I'd love to work with you on it, and we'll put it together. The two of us will put it together, and I'll produce it. And I said, you know what? That's a great idea. So to answer your question, if left to my own devices, I'd still be working on the record.
That's my point. Yeah,
I would still be. I'd be nitpicking. I'd be moving things around here and there, and it would be very difficult for me to put a button on it, to just say, okay, I'm done.
Right.
With working with a producer, and especially working with Phil, is Phil has a tendency to say, we're done, it's finished, let's
Right.
move on, let's do something else, because this, we could labor over this forever and a day. It's not going to make it any better. It's not going to make, if anything, it's going to make it worse.
Right.
So let's just move on. So that was the good thing about working with a producer on this one.
Now, did you record this all yourself? I know there was one of the songs I saw you had your fellow Utopia Todd Rundgren drummer Prairie Prince on it, and
Yep.
original tape John Siegler was on it with
Yes.
you. But everything else, was that you? Did you have some friends come in and help out?
So there's a couple of other musicians on the record. Gil Assayas, he's a synthesizer player, piano player, and just a brilliant musician. He took over the Roger Powell spot in Utopia when we did our reunion tour in 2018. Gil plays on the record. Also, Mickey Curry from Bryan Adams' band. He's Brian's drummer. He's on the record. He's a very, very good friend of mine. And the guitar player for Bryan Adams, Keith Scott, plays on the record as well. So there's a few other musicians. It's not like my last record where I had about 15 or 16 other musicians on it. This one is very, very few. And then the other, between myself and Phil, we did everything else, the two of us. Phil plays guitar, keyboards, and bass. I play guitar, keyboards, and bass. Actually, Phil plays drums as well. So between the two of us, we rounded out the rest of the band.
Now, when you go on the road for these 3 dates and other dates coming up, how do you put together a band? Is it one solid lineup? Is it different guys in different cities?
No. I use the same people pretty much all the time. This particular band is Andy Ascalise on drums. He's a great drummer who's been working with me for about 3 years now in my solo bands. Matt Beck is on guitar. Matt Beck plays with Matchbox 20, and he's also Rob Thomas's musical director and guitar player. And then John Corba is my piano player. John plays with he's played with Hall & Oates and Phoebe Snow, and he's just a great keyboard player, and I'm looking forward to working with him on these shows. It's a very, very short run of shows,
right? Because
I only have a small window before I get busy with Todd Rundgren in October.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this question. I've asked you before. I know I haven't. I didn't get a chance to go back and look for the answer, but when you go to play with other bands, you step in for, a Cheap Trick or a Blue Oyster Cult or whoever it is. And I asked you once before, hey, when you get out there and you're playing somebody else's parts, do you have the leeway to kind of make it your own? When somebody's stepping in to play your stuff, you're a musician, you play it all. You're a talented bass player, guitar player, the whole bit. When you get in and you write something, and then you bring in one of your guys to play, are you more mindful of how they play it, or do you want to give them a little leeway to say, all right, I didn't see it that way, but I'm okay with it?
That's a really, really good question, and you're right. If I nitpick, and if I say to somebody, I would rather that you play it exactly the way that I played it. Mm-hmm. What's the point in having them doing it? Right. It's part of what I like about working with other musicians is what they bring to the table. So there is a certain amount of leeway that I will afford them. There are certain things that I would rather are done exactly the way they're recorded. But for the most part, if you're a good enough musician, you know when to take liberties and when to stick to the script, if you will.
Outstanding. That's Kasim Sulton. He's here promoting Kasim 2021. That's his new project. That I get a little live stream next Thursday night. I'll give you some info on the place to get it. That's volume.com/deco with another //
Yeah, that's my record label, Deco Records. They're just the best label on the planet. They are so artist-centric, and they really care about the musicians that are on their label and the music that they put out there. So I'm very, very happy to be a part of Deco.
Yeah, I saw. I went on their website earlier, and they have some pretty big names. I saw Carmine Appice.
Yeah.
I saw a few other people. So it seems like a great label, and
Yeah.
we're all looking forward to it. Let me ask you about live stream music. I know we've been talking. You're gonna do a live stream event. You're gonna have Maria Melito, who's a legend in the business. I grew up listening to in the broadcasting field. So somebody that I will definitely be trying to listen next Thursday. I don't know what time. I have to take a look at if I'm on the same time. But a lot of people did live stream events where they were in their house playing to basically to a computer screen or a camera. And I asked a couple of guys, one or two on the air and a couple off the air. And I said, as a musician, I would think you're feeding a lot off the crowd when you do a show, shows could be better when the crowd's completely into it. The crowd's a dead crowd. It's a little hard to get into it. Have you done? I didn't see anything that you have done it. Could you sit there in front of a computer screen and hold, let's say, a short concert? Would that be something that you could see yourself doing?
I did. I did.
Oh,
I did a little New Year's show earlier this year for New Year's Eve on this year. I am not a big fan of the live stream events for concert settings. I think that I think it takes some of the excitement out of seeing a band. Now I understand that there was really no way around it for a long time, because people just were not going to. We couldn't gather in crowds. It was just impossible. So there was a real necessity and a need for something like that. But the few that I did, like I did a Daryl's House show. And I was on the stage in the venue up in Pawling, New York at Daryl's House Club. And it was just really difficult. There's no interaction. You're not getting any kind of feedback from an audience. You're not getting any energy from a crowd of people that are watching you play and listening to you. And, as a performer, you really, really need that to have that excitement, to make you want to play better, to make you want to sing better, to make you want to entertain people more, so it was difficult, but it was something that some people gravitated towards. A really, really good friend of mine was doing 2-3 shows a week on what was it, what's the platform, I forget. Stage It, and God bless him, man. It was I was so happy for him because he was getting a lot of people, but I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, I would think it's you want to get out, you want to play, but again, it's you're playing to a computer screen, and then you need that feedback. So again, listen, if you're able to do it, I saw a bunch of guys do it, and they did a great job with it. Damon Johnson, I thought did a couple really good ones that I got to see. But there were some others that were just, you could just tell.
Yeah, kind of lackluster,
Yeah, because, as the artist, if he's not into it, it's kind of like, what am I watching here? I'm just watching a guy strum on a guitar or.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But good for you. And so listen, you got the big dates coming up. Then you said you're going out with Todd Rundgren after that?
Yeah. So I have a few shows in September 12th, 14th, and 17th. And you can check my Facebook page for all the information about that. And then on October 1st, I start a 6-week tour with Todd Rundgren. It's a Wizard of True Star, one of his bigger records. We're doing the whole album top to bottom. Plus another section of the show, which is some of his older material, some of his newer material, and older material. So I'll be doing that until the middle of November, and then I start working on my shows again.
Wow. Okay, so you can have more. Let me ask you. I mean, is there a COVID mandates? Do people have to be vaccinated to come to these shows? Do you know? Is each place different? Do you have any idea? So I can.
I'm pretty sure that for my shows, you're going to have to show proof of vaccination in order to get into a venue. And I know that with the Todd shows, it's a Live Nation tour, and Live Nation is mandating the proof of vaccination in order to attend any Live Nation show.
Okay, so we'll get that out there again, guys. You can go to let me see, where's my notes on it. You can go to decoentertainment.com. You can go to facebook.com/Kasim Sulton Music.
Or you can go to kasimsulton.com and you can pick up a copy of the record there as well.
Yeah, guys, there's some limited edition Kasim 2021 bundles, which I'm going to pick up because I want to hear more. Hey, what's the strategy behind the release? So you released one song. Are you releasing the entire rest of the album on the live stream next week? Is it just the one song? Just one more?
Just the second single. Album doesn't come out until the entire album doesn't come out until September 17th.
Oh, okay.
So that's the official release date. It'll be up on Spotify, Apple, iTunes, Pandora, all the streaming services on the 17th of September. Up until then, you can get a copy through Deco on the Deco website or on the Merch Bucket website. And the idea is to just tease a little bit here and there, and then it makes you want to hear the rest of the record when it finally does.
I told you, I loved the song. The single was great.
Thank you.
I love the video. It's kind of old school. I love the background. I thought it was a great video. So I'm looking forward to the next one, and I'm looking forward to the album. It sounds great. You sound great on it. So I'm looking forward to hearing more.
Thank you, Tommy. Thank you.
No, that's serious. Hey, by the way, did you make out okay in the storm? You're still.
I had an appointment down in Jersey, South Jersey, last night, and I drove through the worst of it.
Oh, really?
I was coming up on the turnpike, and it was horrible. There were so many accidents, and if I had stuck my hand out my car window, I would not have been able to see my hand out the window. That's how bad it was.
Yeah.
And then when I got to 440, which is right by the outer bridge, there were cars that were swept into the medium from the flooding on 440. It was really, really bad.
Yeah, I come home from work through Staten Island. My kids still live in Midland Beach, so I was checking in on them. They had a little bit of rough, nothing bad. But and then I was just coming through at the beginning of the storm, and was started to get really nasty. I live in Central Jersey, right off the turnpike. So I just got home just in time to miss a good part of it. So thank God.
Well, good. I'm glad you're safe.
Yeah, and everybody, everybody out there. I'm sorry, all those who. A lot of people took a beating in New Jersey. 23 people passed away. So a rough storm. Hopefully, everybody's doing okay out there. So again, everybody, KasimSulton.com. Make sure you get out there and check on the music. You got 3 great shows: September 12th, Westchester, PA; September 14th in Paulding, New York; and September 17th in Irwin, PA. Make sure you get out to Deco. Deco is DecoMusic.com, right? I say that right?
Yeah. DecoEntertainment.com.
There you go. DecoEntertainment.com. Get the bundle and pay attention. Go online and check out More Love. It is a great song from a great artist and a great person who is kind enough to give us a few minutes. And we look forward to you coming back. You've been on the show a bunch of times, and I can't say thank you for doing it every time. You're really just a great guy, and I wish you. Oh, I got to ask you one thing.
Sure.
You were part of the Bat Out of Hell album. Okay. I don't know if you know the story. If you I don't know if you were part of it at the time, but there's always been that thing about the Phil Rizzuto part where he does the thing, and he always said for years he didn't know what it was really being used for.
Right.
His wife's very Christian. He was very Christian. Right. Catholic people, and but everybody says, well, he really did know, but he didn't want to say. Do you know the real story?
Yeah, I do. Please. So they had this idea. It was Jim's idea. Jim was a big baseball fan, and Jim passed earlier this year, and he is sorely missed. A brilliant musician and songwriter. In any case, he had the idea to do a play-by-play in the middle of the song, and who better to do a play-by-play than Phil Rizzuto? He's one of the most famous play-by-play voices in baseball history.
Yeah.
So, like Harry Carey is in Chicago.
Absolutely.
Phil Rizzuto is in New York.
Sure.
So they call him and they say, we'd like you to do a play-by-play for us, and we're going to put it in the middle of our song. He quoted them a price and said, okay, great. How many minutes do you need? You need a minute and a half, a minute? They said, fine, that'll work. So he did a play-by-play. He had no idea that it was in reference to a guy kind of groping his girlfriend in the backseat of a car.
Right.
When he heard it afterwards, he was upset.
Oh, really?
He was a devout Christian. And like you mentioned,
yeah.
And he had no idea that the play-by-play was going to be used in that context. So he was upset, but I think that when all is said and done, he was like, okay, I did it. There's nothing I can do about it. They're giving me a gold record. I'm on, millions of people are listening to my voice. I'm on the radio every 5 minutes when that song was on. They still play that song at weddings and bar mitzvahs.
Oh, absolutely. It's still one of the biggest played songs of all time. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, like I said, when all was said and done, I'm sure he was like, what are you going to do?
Yeah, I'm sure he was good enough about it, but I've heard the rumors that he did know, he didn't know. I said, you know what?
No, he did not know.
Ah, that's great. Oh, I'm glad you put that to bed for me, and I appreciate it.
Sure, anytime.
Kasim, listen, I want to thank you. I wish you tremendous luck. I am going to try to find my way to watch next week.
Okay.
And I'm gonna keep promoting it tonight, and I hope my whole audience goes out and watch it because you're a great guy, and I wish you great luck with the shows and the album. Please come on back down the road and let us know how you're doing.
Thank you so much, Tommy. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it, and thanks everybody. Have a good night and be safe.
Absolutely, same to you. That's Kasim Sulton, and please, guys, check him out. He's amazing. Kasim, have a great night and a great weekend.
Bye, guys.
Take care. So that's Kasim Sulton. He was kind enough. What a great guy, I have to tell you, and a great musician. Good stuff, man. I'm telling you, you're going to like the album. I'm looking forward to hearing the rest of it. Waiting on Jeff. We'll get back to some sports. I was talking Yankees. Again, Hard Rocket Sports, 347-826-9993 and 4 is the number to check on in. You guys want to call in, listen in. That's one way to do it. Of course, we're right here on Hard Rocket Sports Network, live streaming. So make sure you check us out. And we got plenty of stuff coming up in the future. Stay able to pay attention for my announcements. Let's see, Yankees. So Yankees got to get fat this weekend this week on the Baltimore and the Blue Jays. Listen, the Yankees, I still say it this, they're playing great. They may be the best team in baseball right now. I maybe Dodgers, Giants, you can go 100 couple different ways. But the Yankees are a good team. And Tampa's Tampa. It's hard to say the Yankees are the best team in baseball. Tampa just keeps winning. Problem with the Yankees, I still think they have the same problem. Now, I do think I like the fact that they are hitting and driving in runs without hitting home runs every time. So I think it's a little better that way. Basically, I didn't recognize Jeff's number before. See, somebody's trying to get me. Kick over stage, yeah, baby. Okay, bad. So again, but I still, the big question this year for me, the Yankees, is their bullpen. I think their rotation's okay. And I've heard people talking about it all week that the Yankees, after Cole, I like Montgomery. I think he's pitched well. I think Jameson Taillon's been okay. He's been, second season been really good. I think they go deeper. If they can get Kluber right, they're okay. Now maybe you got to go Cortez in the bullpen. I know that's no Britton. Chad Green's not great. You're going to burn out Loaisiga. So if you could get to Loaisiga and Chapman, and of course we got to get Chapman right. But if you get to the point where those two guys are 7, 8, 9 or 8 and 9, you got to get to the 5 and 6 with your starters. If you can get to 7, it's even better. But if you get to 6, and then you can get yourself, to those two guys, it's the recipe that the Yankees built the 90s on. Get to Rivera and Wetland. Get to Stanton, Nelson, and Rivera. That's what you got to make it a 7-inning game, and then the door's over, and then the game's over. Shut the door. So, but the Yankees have a lot of the same problems. Timely hitting, has got to be better. It was great during the streak, and again I do question a little bit of the defense. I love Velasquez at short, but he's not going to be the shortstop in the playoffs. It's going to be Gleyber Torres. Who's going to play first? In Yankee land, Stanton, Judge, and Gallo in the outfield gets Voit the DH and keep his bat in the lineup, and gets Rizzo at first base. LeMahieu at second. Glaber. It's either going to be Odor or Sella if he stays healthy enough. Okay. And then, of course, probably Sanchez and maybe a little bit of Higashioka. It's not bad. You need timely hitting. That's a terrible throw in the Met game. Nimmo charging his way up to second base. I just dislike Brandon Nimmo. I don't know why. He hustles. Nothing wrong with the guy. It just annoys me. Anyway, so but the Yankees, listen, they need good. They need a good run here. Put some distance between them and the Red Sox. Make a shot at. Here's the thing: if you're the Yankees, at some point you got to figure out: can I get there? Can I not get there in the division? If you can't, then at some point you pull back a little bit. You don't overpitch the pitchers. You not settle, but you make a move for keep the wild card ahead of you. And then we got to make it work in the playoffs, because you can't burn out your bullpen. You can't go to Loisaga for everything, because then when you get to the playoffs, he's going to have nothing. So the Yankees have to be very careful when to pull back on the stick and not go full speed ahead for the division. If it's not catchable, then you kind of got to get there. You got 2 shots at the wild card. I would just be careful with that. So interesting. I'm saving the Giants and the Jets for Jeff. I want to get to a little more college football right now. I know that some people are watching. I think it's Ohio State's on the board, and the Mets just got another real big double by Francisco Lindor. Or was it Lindor? I think it was Lindor. Boise State at UCF. Let's see what else is up here. 8:07. Sorry, guys. I'm just checking to see if there's any other college football. Ohio State, Minnesota tonight. We'll get to that. Let's talk a little college football while we're waiting for Jeff. Again, guys, Hard Rock and Sports showing up on the Sports Wires with his Sports with a Z network every Monday nights. Tom and Jeff doing our best as a little nice tackle, maybe a little they say targeting with the helmet. Let's see what's the big storylines. Okay, let's see. Obviously, quarterback changes in some of the big, all the big schools. Clemson with a new quarterback, Alabama another new quarterback. Mac Jones now the starting quarterback in New England. Justin Fields is the new quarterback. Oh, I'm sorry, he's a quarterback on the Chicago Bears. So new quarterback in Ohio State. So I think there's something to watch there. Bryce Young in Alabama now is the next big player. I think the guy's making $1 million already in money in the nil. So we'll see what happens there. Some big players, some big schools with new quarterbacks. We'll see if Clemson keeps on a roll. I don't think there'll be any reason why they won't. And I think I said earlier in the show, guys, NCAA's got to find a way to keep everybody interested in November, because unfortunately it's the same 3 with then somebody popping up. So I beat that to death early. We'll talk a little bit about the Heat's on a couple coaches. I mentioned Scott Frost in Nebraska, my beloved Cornhuskers. Scott Frost has got to do a better job. He's got to get that team. That team's got to make a bowl game, and I think that team's got to get at least 8 wins. Is he on the hot seat? I don't know, but we'll see. I think a guy who may be a little bit on the hot seat right now is Jim Harbaugh. I think Jim Harbaugh, for the first time, is absolutely positively on the hot seat. I mean, that team has not performed. I thought it was the best thing that they did. I thought it was a great thing for him to go back to his alma mater, and it just hasn't worked out. Now, again, college football day, it's different than it was. It's a different game. And, players, every couple of years, you got new teams. It's not like, you in the pros, you got the same, quarterback for 6 years or 7 years. It's not like you have the same starting right guard for 7 years. You every 2-3 years, you're going to another guy. And, the way things going now, you 2 years, you got guys leaving to go. So interesting time for Jim Harbaugh. I think the heat's up. New coaches in some places. Let's see. Brett Bielema in Illinois got a big win last week over Nebraska. Gus Malzane's now from formerly of Auburn is now over in Central Florida. Steve Sarkisian in Texas. I got to tell you, I would love to see the Texas the Texas school get back up. I love Texas. I'm a Nebraska fan, but I root for a bunch of teams, and that's one of them. And another 2 teams that need to have strong seasons rebounding. Last year, LSU had a bunch of players opt out, so I thought they took it tough. And Penn State, another team that had a lot of opt-outs. So let's see big seasons from both of those two schools. Let's see. What else I want to talk? College football. I made some notes. Let me see. My notes are. We talked about Alabama. We talked about Bama. Again, Heisman watch, guys. I got some people. Obviously, a lot of people have Spencer Rattler, the quarterback for Oklahoma. Matt Corral is a favorite up there, the quarterback from Ole Miss. J.T. Daniels from Georgia. Breece Hall from the running back from Iowa State, who most people think is going to be the odds-on favorite. I'm not so sure. Sam Howell. I like Sam Howell at North Carolina. Let's see. Bryce Young at Alabama's always got to be a guy that's going to be in the mix. Let's see. That's it. We'll get more and more college football each week when we do this. Again, let me see my notes. Let's see. I did all I wanted on the Mets, college, Heisman hopefuls. Yeah, no, I think that's it. Again, like I said, guys, I think the NCAA's got to find a way to fix things a little bit. Again, Alabama should be given their total due until somebody knocks them off, knocks them out of the playoffs. Somebody beats them in their conference. Nick Saban, to me, again, you could compare guys to Bear Bryant and the Schembechlers and Paternos. All the greats, Lou Holtz. This era is a tough era to get very little time to establish. I mean, those guys stayed for 20 years, 30 years sometimes in their schools. I mean, Joe Paterno was a god in PA. I mean, that guy probably could have ran for senator and won. Of course, not the way it ended, but so I mean, to me, it's amazing. But nowadays these guys get 3, 4, 5 years. You don't get to cut. To stick around for 20 and 30 years. And most of them don't. Like, they'll move to another school. They go pro. So, I mean, it's very difficult. But listen, guys, go out there and root for the shirts. Enjoy college football week 1. I didn't see any really impressive games that I would say. Got to see it. Let me see. I did make some notes on the big games of the year. Let me see if I can find those notes. There's some couple games that I think you got to make sure you pay attention to. I made some notes. Let's see if I have them here. La da dee dee da dee dum. Da da dee dee da. Let's see, one more try over here. Let's see if I got it on that page. Let's see. No, sorry guys, I can't find my notes on the big games of the season. Let's see. Nope. Yeah, I had a list of games you need to watch, and it seems to be my page is missing. Hold on, sorry. I'm gonna check one more place. And it's not there. It's not there. And it's not there. All right. Well, again, I'll do a lot more. I'll do a lot more college football in the next couple of weeks. So make sure you tune in. NFL. Listen. I'm trying to stall for Jeff on the NFL. He's running a little late, but the Deshaun Watson thing's still baffling me. I know the Dolphins are hot on the tail of that. The asking price is still very high, which I'm not surprised with, because if you're the Texans, you still don't know what's going to happen. Nobody knows if he's going to get suspended. Nobody knows if he's going to be able to play this year, next year. You don't want to give him away for nothing, but you're holding on to him. I know that, and you know what? The Dolphins have made it very known they want him. I think that the Eagles may have been in the mix, but with the acquisition of Gardner Minshew, Flacco's there, and the coach came out and basically said he came out and said that Jalen Hurts is their quarterback. So I think that's down to one player. I mean, one team, and that's the Dolphins. I think Chicago has their quarterback. The 49ers have their quarterback in the future. Obviously, I think the Jets do. New England, could there be some interest in the Saints? Maybe they seem to be locked in now with Jameis Winston. Let's see if Sean Payton can resurrect that. But right now, the Dolphins, and you know what? It's a very big indictment of Tua. And I said it. I love Tua in college. He did a great job, but I never thought Tua's game would translate here, and so far it hasn't. Now let's see if there's a big leap this year. I don't know. But having said that, What will the Dolphins pay, and when do you pull that trigger? Is that one of those things? I'll take him. I'll get him for a 3rd round pick, stash him someplace, and C.J. Stroud's a new quarterback for the Ohio State Buckeyes. So we'll watch and see how C.J. does tonight, replacing Justin Fields, who has done a really nice job in the spring with the Bears. So again, at some point, is it that he's not playing, or is the team sitting him? It's an interesting situation, one that I don't think I've ever seen before. You've seen other players get suspended, they get put on the commissioner's list. None of that's happened, and I don't know. Is he going to play? Is he not going to play? It's interesting, and I don't know. I don't know when that gets announced. The Giants are going to retire a couple of numbers, one being number 10 for Eli. I think it's opening day. I have to check the date on that. And it was recently announced that Michael Strahan's number is going to be retired. And probably rightfully so. Listen, I'm okay when they retire numbers for great players, franchise players. And, of course, Hall of Famers almost a must. But I'll leave the Yankees out because I think the Yankees have been a little ridiculous. The Giants, yes, they retired Phil Simms, not a Hall of Famer, but a great Giant. LT, greatest of them all. So I agree with that. I don't think anybody should be running around with 56 on their back. The Harry Carson one, that Harry Carson's number is not retired, is amazing to me. Harry Carson was one of the greats for the New York Football Giants. If you never got a chance to see Harry Carson play, he played in an era of great middle linebackers, Randy Gradishaw and D.D. Lewis, Jack Lambert. So many great, what a nice throw. So many great middle linebackers around the NFL. You just on the heels of Dick Butkus, Bobby Bell. So many great players that Harry Carson stood out. I mean, Harry Carson was as good as anybody. And it took him a long time to get into the Hall of Fame. And we all know that story, or at least I think you all know the story. But, Harry Carson's number was not retired. And, if you're going to retire Eli, now Eli is a tough one for me because I as a Giant fan, want Eli to get in the Hall of Fame. Okay, I'm kind of Metish. Like the Mets wanted David Wright. Now, I think Eli's done enough to get in. But it's not a sure bet. Eli did not have the career that his brother had or other guys of his era. Now, he won 2 Super Bowls, 2 MVPs. So I think that's something that should be taken into account. Wow, big run off the bat for Ohio State. Now up 7 or 6-0 on the way to 7-0 at least. But, Eli's a tough one. But I think Eli's going to get in. So you retire the number. Strahan, it was a great Giant. The thing about Strahan, most people are going to remember the sacks. Strahan was one of the best two-way football players I've ever seen. As a defensive end, you couldn't run away from him. You couldn't run at him, and he would go get the quarterback. Now, was his record a little tainted with Favre and the whole play? Maybe, but that doesn't take away from Michael Strahan's career. Will he be remembered as one of the greats of his era? I don't know. There was a lot of years that Strahan was a good player. But again, when you're taking on the whole, he was definitely a Hall of Famer. I'm just very careful when you want to start retiring numbers in football, be consistent. And Harry Carson is one of the greats, and he was underrated. He was definitely an underrated player. It's obviously before, a lot of the social media days, and you had to kind of watch games, not in no NFL Network, 24-hour coverage. You saw someone hits Harry Carson late on people and on teams that were terrible. Those mid-70s, early 80s Giants were terrible teams, and Harry Carson was a Pro Bowler, All-Pro, and rightfully a Hall of Famer later on. But for the Giants to still be giving out 53, I think is a travesty. You want to retire Strahan and Eli. I'm all for it. I'm okay with it. But you got to get Harry Carson in there. But I guess if it hasn't been done, it's not going to. It's not. What the problem is? It's not sexy. Sims and LT were the faces of those 86, 90 Giants, even though Sims didn't quarterback the 90 team to the Super Bowl. He had done a great job before that. And Eli is the face of this era's Giants. You can knock him, you can do a lot of stuff to Eli, but Eli Manning was the face of this era's Giants. 2 Super Bowl wins, 2 Super Bowl MVPs, and lots of great throws from the guy. So I'm okay with Eli getting his number retired. Just, again, to me, once a guy makes the Hall of Fame, there's very little reason not to. And again, I'll say it again, guy who should get looked at for the Hall of Fame, Carl Banks, who does not get any love. He gets less love. And Carl Banks was a great player, not a good player. Carl Banks was probably one of the most underrated complete linebackers that ever played the position. He could run with the running backs, cover tight ends, down the seam. Okay, he could rush the quarterback, and he could play the run. Carl Banks is a great player. Fortunately for Carl Banks, he played on a team with Lawrence Taylor and Harry Carson, and he was a little overshadowed. And but you could not block you could not block LT and turn your back on Carl Banks. So I will tell you, very interesting to get those guys in. Hard Rocket Sports. Tom here by himself for a few more minutes, waiting for Jeff to pop up. Hard Rocket Sports, 347-826-9993 and 4. Going out on the live stream over the internet on Blog Talk Radio. Will be repeated this week on our good friend Sports Wire. And again, keep them a lookout. We're going to be doing the Sunday Audible every Sunday morning, 9 a.m. on the Sports Wire Radio Network. That's sportanarium.com/player exclamation point. That's sportanarium.com/player exclamation point. Make sure you check us out. Every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. where John Mahefka, Jeff, and myself get together. We'll give you some best bets. We'll give you the big games of the week. We'll talk about the biggest news stories. We'll run through all the games of the day, fantasy, betting. We'll do it all in about an hour and 10, 15 minutes. Right here. I got a tickle in the throat. I keep having to drink. Sorry, guys. So yeah, we'll give you more information on that coming up. Make sure you follow us with our guys from hold on, let me just change my banner, which I haven't done. Follow our friends at Talking the Fast Lane, RFL Records, and all the people who help us celebrate our show. It's a quiet night out there. I see many people popping in, so hopefully you're out there listening and watching, waiting for Jeff. I'm going to spring on to a little bit of, let's see what else. Belichick, how surprising was it that the Belichick cut not only Cam Newton, but Brian Hoyer. I don't know who's left on the roster as a quarterback. I loved Mac Jones coming out of college. I said it. I think he might have been the most pro-ready of all those guys. Now, I want to hold Zach Wilson. I know I watched Zach Wilson. I think he's played really well. There are people out there picking him for rookie of the year, best player. I'm going to hold that till Jeff gets on to see what he thinks. But I'll tell you about Mac Jones. He has looked every bit the professional quarterback. I understand. I'm surprised, but I'm not shocked that Belichick did that. I think the kid had enough there. He's going to save some money letting Cam go. I also think Cam Newton did not throw the ball really well. I think he lacked arm strength. I don't think he brought enough to warrant him being in there. I think the kid clearly won the job, and I think here's the problem: he could not leave Cam Newton on the team in the locker room. I think Cam Newton is so well liked by a lot of the team that it would have developed into a problem, especially if the kid has some rough moments. I think that it would have been too easy to say, hey, let's put Cam in there, or have the locker room split on getting Cam in there or sticking with the kid. And I think it makes for an interesting division. I have to tell you, that division now with Zach Wilson, Josh Allen, Mac Jones, and Tua, all the quarterbacks are 25 and under. You have 2 rookies, a couple of guys with a couple of years on their belts. It's going to be an interesting division. A lot of young, good quarterbacks. We'll see how well they play. But it's not a surprising but not shocking move by Bill Belichick. I think that it would have taken a really good run by Cam Newton to be the quarterback this year. So we'll see how it plays out for him. Where does Cam wind up? Is it Dallas? Is it Miami? There are a few spots that I can see. I think it's Dallas. I don't think Dak Prescott is as healthy as they want to make it out to be. Whether it's the shoulder, whether it's the ankle's on 100%. I could absolutely positively see him wind up in one of those places. He'll get a job. I think the guy's got enough in the tank to be, there's guys running around. The Giants running around with Mike Glennon. I could see Cam Newton still playing someplace. So we'll see how it works out. But not a lot of stuff that was surprising in the cut down day. Let's see. Anybody else in there went? Kyle Shanahan talking about you can just see who his quarterback's going to be, and I think he doesn't know. I think he wants to go Trey Lance because he thinks that there's a future there, but I think he wants to win now, and his chance to win now is probably Jimmy Garoppolo. I think Garoppolo's going to play, and he's either going to get hurt or play himself out of the job, or he'll play well enough to keep Lance. But you'll see some packages, and I think that's going to happen to a lot of teams. I think the Bears are going to start Dalton, and you're going to have Justin Fields having a package where you'll see him run a couple plays here and there, or run a series, when the time comes. I think you'll see that from a few teams, and I think one of those teams is going to be the 49ers. I think they're going to try to get Trey Lance on the field and see how he does. I don't think he's done enough from the little I've seen to warrant stepping over Jimmy G to play. Now, maybe they could trade Jimmy Garoppolo to somebody who needs, could he go back to New England? Could he wind up in Miami, New Orleans? There's a few places that maybe a guy like that could wind up. Doubt it. I think he stays. He's your quarterback this year. They do the Mahomes formula where he'll sit behind the veteran for a year, and then next year the job's going to be his. And again, I'm not high on Trey Lance. I'm sorry, he may turn to be a great player. I have no idea, but I am not high on what I saw in college. I don't think anybody watched his game films and will tell me he's a great player right now. He may turn into one, but I'm not seeing it so far. So we'll keep an eye on that. Jameis Winston gets the job in New Orleans. Not surprising. I have to be honest with you. I think, the one thing you'll say about Jameis Winston is Winston played well. 5,000 yards he threw for. Now he threw 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions. And with the same team, and with less than a 500 team, and the same team, essentially, Tom Brady went in there and won a Super Bowl. So I think that's an indictment, so to speak, of him. So we'll I think at the end of the day, that's an indictment on Jameis Winston. But I think between Hill's a good, a solid backup, and a guy who's you can use in a bunch of different spots. I think that was the right move. I'm not a Jameis Winston fan, but I think that was the right move by Sean Payton. Sorry, guys, brain fart for a second. So the quarterbacks have, a couple weeks ago we were talking about who's going to be. Teddy Bridgewater got the job in Denver, so that was where that went. Jameis Winston gets the job. Mac Jones gets the job. So I think other than 49ers officially announcing, I think everything has been squared up for week 1. So we're looking forward to how that rolls. We'll see how we'll see how it all plays out. Lots of intrigue this year in the pro football world. I love the opening game. I don't know if they did it on purpose, if that's just how it happened, but the Jets opened it with Carolina. Sam Darnold getting a chance to enact a little revenge against the team that drafted him, but let him go. So we'll see how that plays out. Lots of intrigue. The Bucks. Everybody's pounding their chest over there. They got the same players back. Everybody there is vaccinated. Coaching staff, players. Excuse me. Personnel, everybody in the buildings basically has been vaccinated. So we'll see what happens there for the Bucks. But yeah, I think the quarterbacks turned out pretty much how we all thought it would play out. Now, I don't know if I've seen anything official from Chicago, but I think it's all but certain you're going to see Andy Dalton at least early. And I think you'll see a package where Justin Fields gets on the field. And if that team heads south, they'll give him the job. He played well enough. He did not embarrass himself. Now, most starters didn't play. He played against second and third stringers. So when the heat's on, we'll see how it really plays out. But the heat's now on for me because a certain sleazy-looking czar is popped up on my screen, and I'm obliged to pick him up. So let me bring on the co-host of the Hard Rock and Sports Show and the sexiest man on his side of the screen, Mr. Jeff Nowinski. Jeff.
Czarism, man.
Yeah, czarism, yes.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah. Well, let's start with Jeff. How was your week?
It was all right, but it got better as the week went on.
Okay.
Because I realized something.
Well, oh God. What did you realize, Jeff? I'm playing along. I don't know why, but I'm playing along.
I realized that something was missing from my life.
What was missing from your life?
Czarism.
So I don't know why. I have no choice. So, Jeff, can you tell us what czarism is? And do you have a few czarisms you want to pass along to the audience?
I will, in time.
In time, you haven't.
Yeah, I'm setting up my little area. Guess what I got over the week, man?
What'd you get over the week?
This. Can you see that?
I see a little nuclear thing on the bottom. I can't really tell what it is. What is?
It's a bomb.
Ah, okay. I see that. Is it?
Don't do what I do and order one of these, please.
Oh, that's part of your collection. I know you have a little bit of a military collection.
Nah, it's a goofy thing, and I seen it. I thought it was a lot bigger than what it was, and it turns out it's not. It's about the size of a
I've
can
heard
of
some
soda.
women say that in their time too.
What's that?
I've heard women say that, Jeff.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Tom.
I thought it was bigger when I first saw it.
Can I hear you? I hear you, but it's like a tuna can. Wide, short and wide.
Yes.
So anyway, as you can see, I put a name on my screen.
I see that. Czarism, I see it.
That must pique your interest on some levels. It must be
not even, what
does this mean? What is this all about?
I have no interest in what czarism is.
I think you're just saying that.
No, I have no interest in czarisms. But I am curious, whenever you come up with these things, to hear what a czarism actually is. Like, I'm looking forward to what are the top 10 czarisms? What are the top 5 czarisms, which eventually you'll come up with, or you'll let us know.
Well, there is a couple.
There is.
Yeah, and first I just wanted to tell you, sorry I was so late tonight, but I had to go to a wake, and we got to end up staying a little bit longer than I anticipated, and then I realized that being that I'm fat, I'll probably be hungry before the show is over. So it'll behoove me to get something to eat as soon as possible. So I got something quick, but on the way back from the funeral, from the wake, is when I discovered the true meaning of czarism when I was listening to ESPN on the way home.
So, okay. And what was that? What revelation can you say you had?
It's the sorry-ass state of the New York Giants.
That's a czarism?
Yeah. And you have a bad internet connection. One of us has a bad internet connection because all of a sudden you're just like freezing. Really? I've
not been having complaints so far tonight, so I don't know. You to me is fine. You've been first. Kasim Sulton did freeze up once or twice, but I got through it pretty quick. So
you're frozen up right now.
Really?
You just released.
But you divide the audio still goes through, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so that's the main thing. As long as the audio keeps running through, I'm happy. So Jeff, let's get into a little bit. I don't want to go too far backwards. I kind of held the Jets and the Giants and some of the NFL stuff till you got here. I figured that's the meat and potatoes, so let's stick to that. Okay. I went to a lot of college football, which we'll do a lot more each week. You seem to become a little more of a college football fan over the last few years, following plays for the draft, our draft shows. So we'll do a little bit more of that maybe next week. Of course, next Thursday night, guys, we'll be doing the NFL show. We'll break down the entire league. We'll go through. We'll make our picks for the divisions, for playoffs, the Super Bowl, and then of course we'll go through all the rosters and everything else. So that'll be next Thursday. But Jeff, let's talk a little bit about your beloved Jets first. I will do the Giants last because I'm just going to shake my head. But for the Jets, I think, I don't know if it's rightfully so, unfairly so for a team that barely won 2 games last year. There seems to be a lot of high expectations for a team with a brand new head coach, a rookie quarterback from a medium-sized school, a team coming off 2 wins. I've heard more than a few people who are predicting double-digit wins for the Jets this year. Is it a case of over expectations? Has the team gotten better, or do we just see a better product and we hope for something?
I think it's the same usual routine that comes with the Jets, and that is, well, look, we got a new coach, we got a new quarterback. This looks promising. The general manager's been doing some good things, and it just they tie it in together with, what are you going to say? That this team is going to suck? I don't think they're going to suck. I think they're going to show promise.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to win 10 games. I don't see that. But when you win 2 games, what's a big difference? What's a big turnaround? If they win 6 games, if they go 6-11, is that going to be a successful year for them? I know we talk a lot, and I don't like to argue the fact with you because sometimes I see it differently.
Okay.
And they're like, well, if they show that they're playing and that they could handle themselves, this, that, and the other thing. Anybody that's on an NFL team is there for a reason. Okay. They're one of the best people in the world that play that position, or else they would not be in the NFL. Even the worst player in the NFL is still better than just about any player that's not in the NFL.
Agreed.
Okay. So to me, the Jets, as far as the Jets and what the Jets, what we could see the Jets doing this year, I think is if they show that they could play, if they show that they could stick in games, if they show that they could react, something that Adam Gase and the Jets were not doing, and a couple other coaches, Todd Bowles and somewhat Rex Ryan, like they had a game plan and they stuck to the game plan. Sometimes you got to go back to the drawing board somewhere along the line and realize, hey, this isn't working. We need to do this. We need to adjust our game plan to better off for our team. I'm interested in seeing that. A lot of people said a lot of things about Rex Ryan when he came in. I didn't hear many people say things about Adam Gase, but there was a lot of Todd Bowles fans also.
Sure.
I just think this guy Salah, I really honestly and truly think that he's going to be a missing link. I think he's going to be a solid coach. I think the general manager, if given the time, seems to make smart moves. He doesn't make panic signings. It seems, where like, okay, the big name is out, let's go get him. So I just think that I think it's a team that's going to slowly make its way to becoming a better team. I don't think it's that they're going to be a wild card team this year.
Well, I think it's unfair to stick. I think it's unfair to have a new coaching staff, new quarterback, but a lot of the same problems, and then expect to have that big a jump. 2 wins, 6 wins. 6 wins could be a great season, depending on on how you play. Like I said, I thought the Giants were better last year. Forget about the win total. I thought they were in these games, and a bunch of them they lost. They just didn't know how to win. And then finally, at the end of the year, they went 5-3 in the last 8 games. They turned it around a little bit, and I saw better things. I think that's what you're saying with the Jets. It's not necessarily wins and losses. It's how do you function and play during? Are you making stupid mistakes during the game?
That's part of it too, Tom. Don't forget, you could go 16-0 and just happen to beat each team by 1 point.
Right.
You know what I mean? You have to show that you're changing your game plan on the fly. I think that's big. The coach has to show that he's gonna coach smart.
Yeah, you're gonna adjust at halftime. You're gonna adjust game to week to what your strengths are. And
I'm not even talking week to week. I'm talking first to second quarter. You're thinking that a team like, let's say, Miami, okay? Let's say they anticipate Miami is going to come in and throw the ball all over the place, okay? But now here comes Miami in the first quarter. They got 60 yards rushing, and they've thrown 2 passes. And it's like, wow, these guys are going to try to beat us on the ground all night. Now you have to make the adjustment. And you have to, not just a defensive adjustment, an offensive adjustment also. You're going to have to show that you could make that and roll with the punches, so to speak, and do what you got to do. I think Salah is that guy. Rex Ryan was a coach, but he was a player's coach. And everybody wanted to play for Rex because he's Rex Ryan and he's boisterous and everything else. And Adam Gase, I don't even think Adam Gase wanted to be on the team with Adam Gase. He was so bad.
Yeah.
I just don't understand that. But I mean, this guy here, he just seems different. It feels different. I may be wrong. Maybe by the 5th game of the season, it'll be like, these guys have yet to score an offensive touchdown. They've rushed for 63 yards in 5 games. And this guy has to go before halftime. He needs to be fired and taken off the field.
Yeah, I don't get that. I don't get that feel so far. I think you're right. I'm not anointing him a great coach yet. I'm not saying he's the next great coach of the year or you have the quarterback in the future. I do think it seems different, it feels different. But my problem with the Jets is they still have a lot of the same problems. Again, Shaq Lawson goes down, your best player before the season even begins. So you're already a deficit there. Your defensive backs still need no defensive backfield. Tight end still you're trading Herndon, and you still don't have a valid tight end.
Okay, let's real quick, because I know that you want to get on the Giants too and everything. First, about the defensive end. Okay. Yep. Yes, you're right. Horrendous blow very early in the season. Okay, when all of the big, better players have been signed and everything else. But you know what? Adversity. Let's see what Salah does with it. Let's see what Douglas does with it. They went out. They got themselves another Lawson. Let's see how he pans out. Okay, tight end. Okay, they need some tight end. They have a tight end that Herndon was actually beaten out of the starting job by one of the other tight ends that they have. I can't remember his name. So let's see what happens. And hopefully maybe they got a guy, a sleeper. Maybe he blossoms. The defensive backs, it's still early. I mean, all of the better ones are probably signed by now. There was some that, of course, that were released. Maybe they're going to be looking to pick somebody up. I don't know. It is scary to think that you're going with like 4 or 5 unproven players in the defensive backfield. You still haven't signed Marcus May long-term deal. So I would like to see them turn that around. Douglas so far doesn't look like he's looking to sign some of these guys to a second deal, which kind of worries me. I got to be honest with you. What else did you bring up?
And I was just about to say, well, it remains to be seen. I like Michael Carter, the running back, but there is no set guy in the backfield, and receivers should be good. But again, can they protect them on the offensive line? The offensive line has not done the job in the preseason against the starters. In both of their joint practices, they were manhandled by the starting defensive lines for both teams. So I think there's some question marks, but I do think there's some solid ground, and I think it's all going to come down to now. I've heard everybody anointing Zach Wilson as the next great quarterback, rookie of the year, all that stuff. I think it's a
lot of people are high on him as far as rookie of the year goes, but it's so early for that. Come on, man. The guy didn't even fucking go on a field and play a real game yet. How are you saying this?
Yeah, he does move well. I like the way he throws the football on the move. He looks like an NFL quarterback, but you know what? So did Sam Darnold.
I was just going to say, we heard the same thing about Sam Darnold.
Yeah, I saw the same things there. So, let's see it on the field. I think it's unfair. Now, listen, Jeff, there's a lot of people who do this for a living that they have to come up with stuff to talk about. So the easy thing, it's easy to say, hey, I picked the Jets to do really well, and then they fail. All right, that's normal Jets. It's easy for me and you to sit there and go, the Jets are going to suck. Because the likelihood is they're not going to win 1 in 4 or 5 games. Even if they're a better team, if they win 3 more games, it's enough. But I also think it's unfair. And to the Jets, for the Jets themselves, they have not come out and say, hey, we're going to win 10 games. We're going to win the division. They just go out there and they do their job. And it's tough for the fans who put expectations on a team to go from 2 wins to 10. It don't happen very often.
No, it doesn't happen very often, and I don't see it happening this year. But you know what? A lot of things that I think have to be realized here, and I think this is important, okay? I think it has to be realized that this is not a 1-year rebuilding project.
No.
Okay, this is going to take some time. That's one thing.
I would agree.
Okay?
Yeah.
2, I think that we need to, be patient. As Jet fans, we need to be patient. You can't turn around and say, well, these guys only won 7 games this year or 6 games. You can't do that. You got to wait and see. Let this team gel. It's a young team. Let's see what happens. I would also say, and I hate to say this, Joe Douglas, I wouldn't say next year he's on the hot seat, but if this is a team that goes 3-14 this year, okay, and they get another top 5 draft pick.
Yep.
It's going to be like, okay, Joe, when are you going to deliver the goods here? Because you know what? You were 2-14. Now you're 3-14. What happens here? Then they may have to go near 10 wins.
Well, then you have to show significant. If they win 2 more or 3 more games this year, it's going to be okay. You got to take it up to 7, 8, 9 wins next year. If you stay the same or drop a game, I think he'd be on the hot seat. So, yeah, I think he needs to see some improvement this year and at least see some chemistry and see here's the thing for me for the Jets. Adam Gase did a terrible job on game day situations, punt, no punt, clock management. They were terrible. Rex Ryan was terrible clock management. One of the worst I've ever seen. So I think stuff like that, as a coaching staff, they have to do better stuff. And again, I think if the Jets go out there and even if they lose, and they're a tough division, Jeff, that might be one of the tougher divisions in football right now. The top 3 teams, and I think New England's going to be better. Watching New England, I think they're going to be better. And they were 7-9 on a bad year. That's a tough division for the Jets. I think the Jets need to go out there and play good football, win or lose, show a little bit of something, and not be an embarrassment that they've been sometimes in the last few years.
No, they're definitely in an improved division without a doubt. Yeah. Miami got better, but not sold on New England.
I disagree.
Not by any stretch. I'm not saying Cam Newton was the answer up in New England, but this kid,
Mac Jones.
I don't know. I mean, is he going to be able to? Is he going to have any kind of? Is he going to be able to escape if the pocket collapses? Look at Cam Newton. No. That guy was built like a god, and
I agree.
Mac Jones looks like a fucking touch tackle league quarterback. I just don't see, him being the answer. I think that they jumped too soon. I think they got rid of Cam Newton to maybe do with him not wanting to get the COVID vaccine.
No, I know that's been brought up, and Belichick says no, and I agree. I don't think that's the listen. If an axe murder could help them win, the guy's on the team. So,
speaking of COVID, did you get for your second shot yet?
This weekend. I go this weekend. My wife went yesterday. No, it's today. My wife went Tuesday, I think. No, yesterday, and she's been sick as a dog for the last 24 hours. Terribly sick. So I'm supposed to go this weekend. I'm probably going to wait an extra couple of days. I don't want to get it over the weekend and then be sick for my 3-day weekend. So I'm going to probably wait. Maybe Monday do it and then hope for the best. I just don't want to be sick at home For
She's not feeling any better at all.
No, in fact, it's been worse. She, wound up with earaches and sore throats, and her skin was hurting her. That last night I was up all night. Her skin was hurting. So
fuck me.
Yeah, so she it's been a rough time. So yeah, I will go. But no, I don't believe it had anything to do with it. I mean, listen, it could have been a deciding factor. Maybe. I just think here's what I think about that, Jeff. I said it before you came on. I think Belichick decided that Mac Jones was capable and didn't want to leave Cam Newton in the locker room because he's so popular with with the locker room that if Mac Jones doesn't play well and they don't switch, well, you're going to have a little bit of dissension. And he just decided, hey, I'll save a few dollars. I'm going to play the kid and give Cam Newton a chance to go out there and find a job. And I think he will. I think he winds up in Dallas or Miami. But I have no problem with what Belichick did. I liked Mac Jones. I thought he was very NFL ready. And what I've seen so far, he's played really well.
I wouldn't be surprised. There's a lot of places I wouldn't be surprised if he goes there. I wouldn't be surprised if the Jets picked him up, the Giants picked him up as a backup, possibly Dallas. What about what about Pittsburgh? Would Pittsburgh pick him up at this point in time?
But the problem with him is he's still got enough of a resume, and there's enough left in the tank, I think, that he almost becomes a distraction. Like, you really need like a solid quarterback. Like, if Dak Prescott is healthy and Cam Newton's on the bench, it's okay. But if you got a quarterback who's questionable for either an injury or ability, or you got a rookie, like, I think it'd be the worst thing for the Giants. It'd be the worst thing for the teams. I think Miami would be the worst thing for Tua, because every single pass would be dissected. And why didn't they move him in? Why didn't they bring Cam Newton in? So it's very rough when you bring in Cam Newton. And the guy did not play well, Jeff. I watched him throw. He did not throw the ball really well. He looked like he was struggling.
Well, you know what, Tom, you got to, like you said, if you think a lot of these teams feel as though that, if this is the one that's going to push me over the edge, I got to take them. And, you could name a few other teams. New Orleans. What about the Broncos?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Very valid, Jeff.
What about the Lions?
Yes. There's a lot of teams that could use a good backup. I'm not doubting it. And
I'm not even talking about a backup. I'm talking about somebody that could possibly challenge for the starting position.
Yeah, I mean, it's too late, though. Could you see the Lions bringing him in and challenging Goff after you traded Matthew Stafford? I can't see it. As a backup, there's a few teams. Could he go into Miami and challenge Tua? Maybe. But again, he's got to learn.
What about if he was to get signed to the Broncos? And here you are, you got a chance. Cam Newton, Teddy Bridgewater, or Drew Lock.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, man. You got to tell me that you're not going to be like, wow, this is interesting now. I understand it's late in the season.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Off season, but if you're a team and you're like, we got to think about it. Maybe you got to bring him in and see what he can do.
Could you know what? Can I see him go back to Carolina? I mean, maybe. I mean, I don't know if he would do it, but
I don't think so.
Sam Darnold, and I still say, if the NFL didn't do it on purpose, boy, I have to tell you, from a New York standpoint, how interesting is that first game? The Jets and the Panthers. Sam Darnold against his own squad. I mean, that's just smart marketing if you're the NFL.
Yeah, it is, and I got to be honest with you. I really feel as though that Sam Darnold is done. I really, honestly, and truly do. The guy just never got it going. He had that jet curse.
Yep.
It seemed just like Mark Sanchez.
Mm-hmm.
He was averaging around 200 yards a game, and it's always like they were afraid to let him loose.
Goodbye.
And it was like he wasn't doing anything.
Yep.
So that's why if I'm Robert Salah, and the Jets, and you got Zach Wilson, you know what I'm going to tell him? I say, listen, go out there. I don't care if you're going to throw an interception or two in this first game. Okay,
yeah, absolutely.
We're not going to the Super Bowl this year. Let's be honest. But you know what I want to do? I want you to set the tone.
Mm-hmm.
Go out there, I want your goal today. I want to see you try to go for 300 yards. I want them to know that we have a passing game. I want them to know, more importantly, that we're not afraid to use our passing game.
Smart. I got you. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Fair. That's fair.
Just like when the Jets had Brett Favre and Mancini was the coach, I would have come out of the fucking gate 3 straight fucking bombs towards the end zone with Brett Favre. And I would have announced after the press conference, I would be like, we're here, baby. We got Brett Favre, and we're not afraid to use him. And that's what he does. He throws touchdowns and long passes. That's what he did. And you set the tone for the season and everything right off the bat. And then you play smash mouth defense. So we're going to fucking throw the ball down the fucking field. We're going to make you exhausted running after it. Then we're coming on the field. We're going to kick the shit out of your offense. That's how we're playing it.
Well, I think that's exactly what you're going to see, Jeff. I think I think you got it right. I think the Jets are going to play smart football. They're going to get the kid out of the pocket, let him run around a little bit. I think the offensive line's still suspect, and I think they're going to play that way. And yeah, I think the plan is to go out there and beat the crap out of people. Now, Lawson gets hurt. That hurts. But I still think that there's some deficiencies on that defense.
There is.
Let's see.
Without a doubt, there is just a lack of defensive backs. But got to see what happens. But let's go to the other side of the hallway, and rip the Giants apart for a little while.
Yeah, well, I'm going to go first, if you don't mind.
Right ahead.
So I do have some concerns about the Giants this year. I was very high on what they did with the offensive line. And in the time I got to see them play, now, again, I've heard some decent stuff about the joint practices, this, that, and the other thing. I did not like what I saw from Andrew Thomas last week. I did not like what I saw from.
He was the number one from last year, right?
Yes. He had his moments. He had some moments where he played really well, but I saw he was being victimized around the end by the New England defensive end. Again, as a whole on the offensive line, I thought they played okay. Wasn't great. They had a couple nice drives. They had one drive that ended in a touchdown and another drive, long drive that ended with an interception in the end zone, which leads me to Daniel Jones, who I see so much good from, and then he makes the stupid play. It's third down. He's rolling out right. Nobody's open, and he throws back late and an interception from the in the end zone. So lots of good. I love the defense. They didn't play great, but it's okay. I'm not worried about it. But from an offensive standpoint, the line still scares me, and I got to see better out of Daniel Jones. He's got to come out and throw some touchdowns, score some points in these first few games, and make people feel better and get some confidence. So I'm so confident with my team, but there's definitely some. They picked up Jeff 2 offensive linemen right after camp ended. After the last preseason game, they made a couple trades and brought in more offensive linemen, guys who may start. That's
yeah, I saw that. I think it's a little late in the year for them to realize, now that the preseason games are over, and it's like, oh wow, our offensive line sucked. This is something that I would have, if I'm the Giants, I would have put a priority on and said, you know what, we got to make sure from game one in the offseason, preseason, we got to make sure that this is gelling. If it's not gelling, we got to do something about it for game 2 to see where we can put these guys out on the field and say, let's see what they're like. Let's see what they're playing like. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just would be leery about that. Now, you're not going to find out how these guys play and get along with one another until game 1. So in a division that could be tight, you're already going to be down
tight
the game.
For what reason? No, tight. Hey, Leonard, how you doing, buddy? And by the way, before I forget, Leonard asked me, and I want to make sure that I put it out there for Dave Weeks. Now, Jeff, we did a great job last week. I thought you did a great job with our tribute to Dave. But I also want to just make sure that I get it out that the family has announced the wake is next Thursday, Jeff. Casey McCallum Funeral, Casey McCallum Rice South Shore Funeral Home, 30 Nelson Avenue. Next, let's see, visitation is next Thursday, 7 to 9. The funeral service is at 8 p.m. So please make sure if you want to send flowers. Again, Casey McCallum Rice South Shore Funeral Home, 30 Nelson Avenue on Staten Island. New York.
I think it's a
1-0-3-0.
2 to 4, 7 to 9, right?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, I missed the beginning. So it's 2 to 4, 7 to 9 with the funeral service at 8 p.m. I want to thank his daughter, is it Kelsey, and of course Steven and Mario, who came on last week to help us. And Jeff, I got to tell you, I heard nothing but nice things, and you did a spectacular job with the tribute to Dave. It really was a fun. It was fun to be able to help out that way. And even though it was a bad subject, and I thought you did a great job, and I thought that was great of them to come on.
Well, listen, we did a great job, and all we did was give them a platform. You know, they're the ones that came out and talked about Dave and their experiences with him and everything else. And I knew he was a nice guy. I've known him for a long time, and it's sad. And a lot of people at work are sad over what happened. And listen, there's not much that you can do, and it's a shame.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to see anybody go. He was on the young side, a young 60. He was still out there playing and having a good time. But, listen, it is what it is. It's a shame.
Yeah.
I hope that his family felt a little bit better after getting that time,
Yeah, again, we had a lot of people watch the episode. We had close to 400 people just on the Facebook side. I didn't even check on YouTube or the radio side. So, it was a good job by you, by them, by us. It was a lot of fun to be able to get together with them and maybe pay a little tribute to one of Staten Island's finest people.
Yep.
So,
but go ahead.
No, I was just going to say thanks, Leonard. Leonard reached out this afternoon, gave me a call. I missed your second call, Leonard. I apologize, but he wanted to make sure we knew about it, and I told him we had done something already. But I'm going to make sure that I got that out there to everybody go out there next Thursday, 2 to 4, 7 to 9, and 8 p.m. for the funeral service. Unfortunately, I will be on the air, so I will not be able to make it there. But our best to Kelsey and the entire Weeks family.
Yeah.
So back to the Giants a little bit.
Back to shredding up the New York Giants.
Yeah, so it's your turn. Like I said, I still have high hopes. I think the division is still a bad division. Listen, I think there's more wrong with Dak Prescott, and I think if the Cowboys sign Cam Newton, that's telling you all you need to know. The Redskins have Fitztragic at quarterback. That's all I got to say. And Jalen Hurts quarterbacks the Eagles. Giants have a very good chance to win this division. Offensive line and Daniel Jones are the key. Now, go ahead, Jeff. Shred the Giants. That's what you do.
I'm just trying to debate where I'm going to start, to be honest with you. Yeah, let me ask you something. There's so many different areas, so many different avenues I could take.
Yeah.
I'm going to let you be the GPS tonight.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
So go ahead. Point me in the direction where you want me to go, and then I'll take it from there.
Saquon Barkley, Jeff. I think Saquon's going to have a big season. I think he's ready to a major comeback player of the year, possible MVP. Go ahead.
Okay. You're talking about a guy, possible MVP, possible player of the year, comeback player of the year, who's never played a full season, Tom. And now the NFL goes and adds another game onto it. Okay. So now, not only that, but he's yet to turn around and say that he's ready and going to be ready for game one of the season. So now, if you're a Giant fan, you have to be worried that maybe your second best player, or maybe your first best player, depending on how you look at it, is going to be, out and not there. And then if he does come back, he hasn't been hit in almost a year. So now you got to worry about him. Is he going to be gun shy? Is he going to be worried? I mean, this is somebody that exactly isn't, top-notch player anyway. He gets hurt. I just think that you got to be careful with him. I would not want to see him get injured early. He's going to be a huge outlet for Daniel Jones. If he gets hurt, you make them Giants a one-dimensional offense, and with a suspect offensive line, it's not going to be easy for him, Barkley, and it's definitely not going to be easy for Jones. But now, go ahead, go on to the next place, wherever you want to go. Your call, man.
All right. let's go quarterback. I think Daniel Jones is ripe and ready for a big season. I watched the one game he got to play was in New England. He had a couple of really nice drives. He threw the ball really well. Again, one big mistake in the end zone, but a great touchdown pass right after that to Caden Smith. I think Daniel Jones is set up for a really good season. If his targets are healthy, Daniel Jones should have a plus season.
Okay. Daniel Jones. I have no faith in Daniel Jones as it is. The guy's a turnover machine. So unless he drastically stops turning over the ball, last year he only had 11 touchdown passes. So we must increase that. That might happen. I'm going to say, I'll just for the sake of laughs and shits and giggles, let's say that the Giants' offensive line is that much better than it was last year.
Okay.
That it gives him the protection he needs and everything else. All right. I see a few more touchdown passes, but nothing major. And the reason I tell you that is because Galladay, this guy missed 11 games last year?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so this is one of your top free agent signings. He's coming off a year where he missed more than half the season. What's that new receiver's name?
For the Giants?
Yeah.
Kenny Galladay?
No. The one they drafted.
Oh, Kadarius Toney.
Kadarius. Yeah, I don't know how you can't remember that name, right? Kadarius. From my first Kadarius. How could I forget? Anyway, this kid, they're saying there's a possibility that he was injured, and they're not giving the truth on him, that he might have had a hamstring injury or something. Just what you want from your fucking wide receiver, especially in the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
This could plague him all year round.
It happens all the time. You see that happen all the time. Yeah.
Okay, we've seen it happen with Denzel Mims on the Jets.
Yeah.
Who, by the way, the Jets, real quick, their wide receivers, man, they're either going to be really good or they're going to be like, what the fuck happened there? But I just wanted to add that in from earlier. The Giants, do they have a true number one receiver? They went out and they drafted one, signed one, and they had one with Shepard. Do they have a true number one in your eyes?
I think Galladay is the candidate. I think Shepard's a good player. Shepard's a good number two. I don't know enough about Toney. I like what I saw on film, but I have not seen anything, so I can't put him there. Slayton's not the guy. Galladay has the capabilities, but like you said, he's got to get on the field and stay on the field to be a true number one, and he does have the ability. Yeah, I think.
Well, he's got the ability, but is he going to be able to? Is he got the durability to be out there? That's a big thing.
You brought up Saquon's durability, and rightfully so. I get it. I believe Saquon Barkley's going to have a big year this year, but yes, could he get injured? Anybody could get injured. You know, Zach Wilson's a rookie quarterback, could be injured on the first play that he makes. I'll take injuries out, but if you've been in the league 3 years and two of them you missed a good portion of the season, yeah, there's got to be a question of your durability at this point. Yes, I agree.
If I'm the Giants, man, I gotta say I'm worried.
Yeah, so again, when it comes to receiver, I think the Giant receiver core has a lot of ability. If they can get Toney back on the field, that's an added plus. But with Slayton, Shepard, and I think it's good. I think it's really good. Again, Daniel Jones has got to make smart throws.
Yes, he does. He has to make smart throws. But you want to know something? There's a lot of going on with that team. The offensive line, quarterback questions, running back questions, wide receiver questions. But they're playing in a division where those questions aren't as serious.
I agree with you.
As if they were playing in the NFC West
or the AFC
or AFC. Well, I wouldn't go mental over them yet. There's still too many brandy new teams, so to speak.
I got you, but my point was going to be right to you, and it's a great point you just brought up. The Giants could be a little bit less. The Giants could be good, not great, and still win that division because I don't believe anybody in that division's any good. The Jets, on the other hand, could be a pretty good team, but I think they're playing. Listen, the Dolphins are a really good run team, have a lot of talent on that roster. I still think my pick for this year is probably going to be the Bills. I think the Bills are primed and ready to win it, and I think New England's going to be New England. I don't think they're going to win 14 games, but those are three good teams that the Jets, even if they're playing better, have to hop over in their own division before you'd even consider them that. So your point is well taken. The Giants may be a better team because of their division. The Jets might be a worse team or the same team because of their division and how good it is.
Yes, but here's the thing too with the Giants, okay?
Yeah.
Because of the level of play in the Giants division, okay? It's like 4 horses coming out of the gate and going 7/8 of the race, nose to nose across the line.
Right.
Like nobody is really a clear cut. Each one of these teams has a quarterback question, I would say. With maybe Dallas being the only team that has a slight nose in front of the other 3 as far as the quarterback goes.
If he's healthy.
If he's healthy.
If he's healthy, he's the best quarterback in that division at this moment.
Okay. But sometimes that's all you're going to need. All right. But now here's the thing, too. The Giants, a lot of questions with the Giants, but another aspect that you really have to consider and think about is the general manager, Dave Gettleman. Okay. Dave Gettleman, if he doesn't deliver this year, I mean, the ownership has already said that he's not on the hot seat. How is he not?
That's not what they said. No, that's not what they said. They said there is no hot seat. The Giants don't believe in a hot seat. What the Giant management is looking for is progression on getting better. They got better at the end of the year. They went 5-3. They played well all year, but lost a bunch of games because they just weren't ready to win. If the Giants come out this year and win 5 games, Dave Gettleman will not be the Giant general manager the year after.
First of all, Anthony Carey put the crack pipe down.
Yeah, when you were a Tampa Bay guy, you were a Jet fan last time.
Really. Yeah. Okay, that's one thing. Second of all, yes, I did see that, Tom, but nonetheless, Gettleman has to deliver wins. He has to.
Oh, I agree.
You can't keep going 4 or 5 wins a year. And with this season coming up right now that we're in, the division that he's in, okay, he has to make a run at the division title. Has to.
I agree.
Okay. I don't see a wild card coming out of the NFC East. He has to make a play at the division, and if not, he's going to be gone. And now let's talk about Judge. What happens if Dave Gettleman gets canned? Judge is in his second year. Regardless of how good you may think Judge is, what happens now?
Well, I think it comes down to this. To the Giants, and again, I think coaches have to be judged on a couple things. Yes, on how the players play, but I also think that they get judged on how they run their team, how they run a game. So if if Daniel Jones gets hurt or plays poorly this year, are we going to fire? And the Giants win 6 games. Are we going to fire Joe Judge? No, you're probably going to fire the general manager. Joe Judge is going to be the Giant coach for the next year, at least, or 2. Well, after that, I don't know.
This is why I don't go with that.
Why?
Okay. Because let's just say that you're Joe Judge. Mm-hmm. You're Tom Judge. Okay. And I'm the new general manager.
Yeah.
But I'm like, listen, this guy Judge, he showed me a couple things, but I don't know. I just don't see his philosophy gelling with what I see. I see something different on the field. And if they hire a new general manager,
I got you.
Why do you want to inherit the coach? What's the sense of becoming general manager?
It happens all. I think the Giants, as an organization, love Joe Judge. They love the way he does his business. I think Joe Judge is here for the next 2 years, this year and the next year for sure. Again, it's a slippery slope. We've talked about it with the Jets. You bring in a GM in the mid-span. He inherits a coach. The coach is bad. You give him a chance to hire the next coach. I think Joe Judge is not on the hot seat. I mean, the Giants win no games. Anything's possible. But I think Dave Gettleman's got to show marked improvement. And, yeah, I think he's got to – even if he doesn't win the division, Jeff, he's got to go into December with an outside chance of getting there.
Yeah, very well thought and put out, yeah, without a doubt. But my thing with Judge is simply this. If they happen to get rid of the general manager, and now they're asking you, Tom, they're hiring you as general manager, and they're going to say, well, you're going to have Joe Judge as your coach. you may turn around and be like, listen, I don't know, this guy. You may like the guy. He may be a great guy, but he may just be like, it's not what I want in the coach. It's not who I want.
I think it's a very valid point. I think, though, the coach that gets hired would be the coach that they said, listen, we have the general manager would be the guy that they say, hey, this is our coach. Can you work with him? And them say yes. I really don't believe the Giants would change Joe Judge. Again, if the team is abysmal and he looks bad coaching it, and all bets are off. For me, though, if the Giants are better than a mediocre team, Joe Judge is back, regardless of who the GM is going to be.
If they're a better than mediocre team, I don't think that you get rid of Dave Gettleman.
Well, better than mediocre.
I think Dave Gettleman stays.
If they win 6 or 7 games, Gettleman's head could still be on the block. If they win 7 games, they're 3 or 4 wins out of first place for the division. No, I think Dave Gettleman's is going to have to do a lot of explaining. It depends on his draft. He drafted, Andrew Thomas. He drafted Daniel Jones. Depends on the guys he does Daniel Jones have a great season, but they're injury riddled? Does Andrew Thomas have a good season, but the other parts of the offensive line fall apart? It all depends. Everything's going to be, depending. But Dave Gettleman needs to have a good season, or better than good season, to be on the Giants next year.
I can see that, but I mean that's something that we already knew, and I got to be honest with you. I don't think that he has the horses to carry him, that much further. I think that he hasn't done enough in his time with the team. I just don't see it.
Yeah.
I think that he really has to, show a marked improvement this year.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree. And if not,
I'll argue that with you. I agree.
I think there's going to be do they take the team and completely tear it down?
I think Daniel Jones has to have a year that's well represented. He cannot have 12 TDs, 25 interceptions, and the Giants win 6 games. I don't think that Daniel Jones would get another season. Now, if the Giants win 6 or 7 games, but Daniel Jones throws 26 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, yeah, I think Daniel Jones is the back at the quarterback. So a lot, it's not going to be wins and losses. It's not going to be stats. It's going to be a combination. And I think the one guy whose job is on the line right now, more than anybody, is Dave Gettleman. And I like Gettleman. I think he's done a decent job. He turned his team around. He fixed the culture. I think he's done a lot of good stuff. Again, I was a little disappointed that we were trading for offensive linemen after the preseason. Now, again, guys might not have been available before that, but it's a little disappointing that it hasn't worked out the way I thought it would to this point. And we'll see how it plays out.
You got to think that way, man. You got to worry and say to yourself, one, like, what were you looking at? First of all, why didn't you try to make at least one of those trades while you still had a preseason game?
Jeff, they might have. Those teams might not have wanted to make those trades until they decided who was going to play on their team. So, anything's possible. So I'll listen. If those guys contribute and week 6, the Giants are 3-3, 4-2, playing decent football, and those guys are playing well, we're going to say, you know what, Dave Gettleman did a great job snatching those guys up right before the season. If they're not playing well and those guys don't do anything, they're going to say, he waited too long to get somebody and he got shit. It's all going to be proof is in the pudding, basically.
Well, then if proof is in the pudding, what happened to guys like, wasn't there a guy Martinez or something? Blake Martinez? Was that
Blake
his
Martinez
name?
is their starting middle linebacker. That.
Okay, so then he definitely is not an offensive lineman.
Yeah, they had 2 guys. Joe Don Looney, who was an ex-Cowboy. He came into camp, and, the Giants are one of those teams that do a lot of conditioning stuff. They run hills. They do a lot of sprints. They do a lot of stuff. And he said his body just couldn't handle it. And they had picked up another guy. His name's escaping me, but they picked up 2 guys, and they basically came in and said, you know what, I'm just not prepared for this.
Hernandez was, I know it was a Spanish name. Hernandez was the other guy they had, right? Will Hernandez?
Will Hernandez is still on the team. He's there. He's right now. He's the starting right guard. He's a guy they drafted a few years ago. Had some early promise, and then last year took a step backwards and lost his starting job to Shane Lemieux. there's a second guy, and he was a Spanish name. It wasn't Will Hernandez though, and he could not handle it and retired. Him and Joe Don Looney retired after about a week each on the team.
Yeah, so I mean, not for nothing. That's some bad. And now you're saying that last year's first rounder, Thomas, is having some issues.
Yeah, again,
that's not good. That don't look good for the scouting department, man.
No, it hurts everybody, and the head scout is the GM. So yeah, what I heard it was in the joint practices he did a pretty decent job, not great. What I saw last week, there was some times I thought he did really well, but there was a lot of times he was chasing the defense. The defense was chasing him around the end. And listen, he can't play that way. Andrew Thomas needs to have a better season because I watched Nate Solder did not look great. And Nate Solder's not supposed to start. It's supposed to be Matt Pert, who has not played exceptionally well yet. So let's hope the offensive line gels at the last minute here. You go out there, play live practices and live games, and they do well. If they do, I think this team will be a force to be reckoned with in the division. Maybe not in the conference, but to go out and win the division.
It's a possibility that they could possibly win the division, but
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know if I could agree with that.
I don't think there's a clear-cut favorite. Do I think that with an established quarterback, even though I think he's going to blow up at some point, and a good defense, that the Redskins are probably the favorite? The Cowboys could be, but I don't think the Cowboys' defense is any good, and I'm not sure Dak's healthy. So yeah, Jeff, I think this is wide open. I think any of these teams that could come out and play well early have a chance to run away with this division.
Time will tell.
Yeah,
we're going to find out.
Anthony, I got to tell you, I listened to the first single that came out. It was okay. I heard today Stratego, which is the second single off of that album, Senjutsu. I heard Nico McBrain being interviewed. The song was nice. Steve Harris wrote 3 songs on this album, Jeff, by himself. And each one of them were over 10 minutes long. And I love a good Maiden tune, but I'm not hanging in there for anybody's 10-minute song anymore. You know what I'm saying?
It's got to be a great song for.
I mean, can you give me one 10-minute song that you would say is a great song that every time it comes on, you want to hear it?
No.
No. Yeah, I thought about it today, and I said to myself, what happened to the days, Jeff, of the 4.5-minute song? Just gallop in, change a couple tempo changes, and then boom, the song ends. Like, the Prisoner or Die With Your Boots On or Killers or Wrathchild. They rattle the cage, rattle your teeth, and it's over. So they were talking about it today, like, yeah, Steve Harris wrote it. Steve writes it. It's 10 minutes long, but why is that good? I don't understand the theory behind it. I love Iron Maiden. I love Steve Harris, but I'm sorry. 10-minute song comes on in a concert. I listen to the first minute. I hit the bathroom, the concession stand, and I get back for the last minute. That's the way I look at it, Jeff.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I'm not looking forward to this album at all. I've stopped listening to any new music that they put out years ago for a lot of different reasons. And at this point in time, as far as Maiden goes, they could put out new albums all they want. They're not putting out bullshit music. They're trying to put out quality music or what they feel is those quality music. It's just, you know what? I've kind of lost the taste for new Iron Maiden songs. And
I can't argue it.
I just think that when you listen to Maiden, and they had a time and a place, and I think that time and that place are over. And I don't need new stuff from them. I really don't. I could listen to them do the same old set year after year after year if I wanted to go see them, as opposed to hearing something off this new album. I couldn't care less. I will download the album just so that I could scoot through it and hear it.
Yeah.
But I highly doubt there'll be anything that'll be like, wow, this is great. I just don't see that.
Listen, to me, the last great Maiden album, I don't know if I won't even say it was great, but the last really good Iron Maiden album was Brave New World, 99. Everything after that, listen, Final Frontier was a decent album. Book of Souls was a decent album. Obviously, I haven't heard the new one in full yet. They're not terrible albums. You said it. You're right on the money. But when it's when you go to the concerts, you're lucky if you get one or two of these songs from this album in the concert. They play all the classics. Why? Because that's what people go to hear.
Yeah, of course.
And they still do it well. We saw them a few years back. I thought they did a great job. I mean, I know you're not the Yannick Gears fan, but
I mean, come on, listen. Maiden was the one band. They were, to me, a step above Priest. Okay, their songs were a little bit more complex.
Yep.
I think the musicianship was a little bit better. Maybe the guitar players were the only one where they were close to even. I mean, bass, vocals were very close, depending on your style, your taste,
what you like.
But I mean, bass and drums, I would always give to Maiden.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, Priest put out Painkiller, and you're like, wait a minute, this changes a lot of things now. Where did this come from? You know what I mean? They never put anything else out like the song Painkiller. What is that, 30 years old? And I still, when I listen to that, I'm like, holy shit, that's some great stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't know. If I'm going to go hear Iron Maiden play live, and I have a choice of hearing Shinjitsu or, Revelations or, Invaders or something like that, I'm going to go with the older stuff, man. I don't need to hear this new shit.
Yeah, I just think that, you don't have to write 10-minute songs.
It's not even that. You know what? These songs don't even sound like Maiden anymore from what I hear. Like Steve Harris gets lost in the mix. You don't even hear him like you once did.
I think I agree with that to a certain extent, Jeff. I don't think the albums are greatly mixed. Again, you want Maiden, you want to hear Steve Harris, and you want to hear those guitars. I completely get it. But when you listen to it, like I listened to Stratego today. It wasn't a bad song. The first minute or two, it had a good beat. The words came in nice. But then after a while, you listen. I got to about 6 minutes. And I was like, all right, I'm bored. I went to another song. I don't think you can hold a lot of people constantly for a 10-minute song. I think you gotta kind of get them and go, that was good. Let me hear something else. After 10 minutes, I'm going, all right, I'm on to another. 10 minutes is an entire album to me nowadays. I'm sorry to say.
No, listen, you're 100% right. And you know what? The music world itself has done that and ruined us with that, because it's like, okay, push this single. All right, we're done with that band. On to the next band. Okay, push this single, because who the fuck wants to buy an album anymore?
Yeah, and this is it's not even a big track. So I don't know if it's got 10 or 12 songs on it. It's a double album. You got 3 songs that are 30 minutes.
How do you get your music now?
I would say 90% of my music still comes off vinyl.
Okay, but when you're listening to music, if you're in the car, you're using your phone, you're using satellite?
Satellite radio.
Okay, so you're streaming music for the most part.
For the most part, yes.
Because I mean, listen, buying albums, that's a home thing. Sure. You know what I mean? Absolutely. You're listening to it at night or whatever, you put on an album, that's fine.
100%, yeah.
Okay. Albums, I don't want to say are more work. Oh, by the way, you know what? Real quick, I was told Pat Kayaza died.
Oh, get out of here.
That's what I was told.
Oh, I'm really sorry to hear that. I was never close to him, maybe as close as you were to him, but he was always a nice man when he came out and said hello. And
yeah. I just found out. I don't even know how to process that yet, because I literally found out at the wake I was at earlier, and I was told that both Johnny Kayaza and Pat Kayaza died, and that's why Pat Kayaza's house is up for sale.
Wow. Pat had to be, what, mid-60s? He was 10 years older than us, maybe?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. If I remember
maybe
right.
a little bit older.
He could have been. If I remember right, wasn't he a butcher in A&P? Didn't he work at the A&P?
He worked in the A&P, but he wasn't a butcher, no.
Okay. I remember as a kid when I worked at the A&P, I was 17. And I vaguely remember right now that Pat Kayaza worked there.
Yeah, he worked he was like an appetizer deli manager or something of that nature.
Yeah.
And hey, listen, regardless of what he did, he was Pat Kayaza, if you know what I mean.
I remember going up into his house with you, never alone. I don't think I would ever went up there alone, but you and I went up there a couple times, and he had quite the record collection.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, that's the one thing. I don't remember if he ever had kids. I don't remember him being married.
No, he didn't have kids.
No?
He didn't have kids. He went through a lot of women. That's one thing for sure. And Hey, listen, just another
Road Creek
person
institution.
from our youth,
Yeah.
and it's sad to say, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But
No
it's a
doubt.
shame.
Yep. If that's all true, and and all that, our condolences to Pat's family, and again, just another guy that I remember coming down the steps while we were playing wiffle ball or football or something in front of his house, and was always nice and had a few laughs with, and again, just a guy we'll always kind of bring up for some of the stories from our youth.
I want to kind of stray for a minute, if you don't mind. We got a few minutes.
We got a couple minutes. Go ahead. I got a little more energy.
And Anthony, I don't know. I can only speak for myself. I made it through the hurricane pretty damage free. Thank God. It wasn't a hurricane. Just got a heavy rainstorm. But
yeah,
Tom, the thing I want to ask you, because talking about Pat Kayaza reminds me of playing wiffle ball on the street when I was a kid, and I'm sure you remember them too. Remember when you would get a new wiffle ball and bat, or somebody that you were friends with got a new wiffle ball and bat, and it was like really cool because the ball was brand new, and you're like, yeah, this is cool. We got a wiffle ball bat, and then somebody would get the bogus version of the wiffle ball, and it would be that real hard plastic that was like throwing a fucking rock. Remember, you know which one I'm talking about.
I know exactly which one you're talking about. Yes.
And sometimes, like, your friend would come out like, "Oh, I got a new wiffle ball," and you're like, "That ain't no fucking wiffle ball." And it would have the red bat,
yes,
with the hard white ball, and you're like, "Oh, what the fuck is this thing?"
We want to play wiffle ball, not this ball.
Yeah, and or somebody would get like a new Nerf football. And you're like, okay, like you got a Nerf football for the street.
Yep.
Like, this is cool. This is good. And then all of a sudden it started taking a few, drops, and it fell in the water or something, got wet.
A chunk of the ball would come out of the
Once
side.
a chunk, and then you would like catch it. You're like, oh, come on. I'm like, what the fuck? What happened? It was brand new yesterday. What happened?
Yeah, the one thing about a Nerf football, if it got wet, that was because it was just like a big sponge, and you catch it, and the ball would splash all over the place, and it was like throwing an anvil after that.
Yeah, you know what would suck too, and I know that because this has happened to all of us. The Nerf ball would get wet, okay, and it'd have the chunk hanging out of it.
Absolutely.
And then all of a sudden, there you are running across the street towards the bumper of the green car. The ball's going to be there.
Yeah.
You see your friend throw the ball. He throws a perfect spiral, except for the chunk. So it's like a tire with a rock and a ka-kunk, ka-kunk, ka-kunk. But you see the water spitting off the ball as it's coming at you in slow motion. If you catch this, because Joey's mom is calling him for dinner, so you got to catch this. You got to end the game.
Yep.
You win the game here, and you just see the spray field getting wider and wider as it's coming towards you. And you're like, I can't catch this one in here. I got to catch it way out there. Yeah. And then it's just so wet and slimy, and you're going to, and it's just like, poof, and it goes out of your hands, and that's it. And then everyone's like, oh, come on.
It was always the big decision. Do you cut the chunk out or do you leave it? It was always the big debate. I would tell you that the Nerf basketball, the Nerf football were the most overrated of the sporting equipment of all time.
I never played with the Nerf basketball, but we've gone through enough Nerf footballs.
Yeah, we had a bunch of Nerf basketballs in my house. And one thing you couldn't do with a Nerf basketball was bounce it. It just didn't bounce. You could shoot it. It was like shooting a sponge, a big round sponge. That's all it was. And they give you this like wire rim basket with a cardboard backboard. And the second shot, the backboard would break. And the rim would come out. It had these two hooks, and one of the hooks would come out. And nobody had crazy glue and that stuff, so you were shot. Nerf basketball was the most depressing gift once you got it.
Yeah, there was a few gifts that were depressing to find under the tree when you were a kid. I remember one good year I had, and it was big, man. It was a big year. I wasn't expecting it, but it happened. I woke up and I got a Johnny West. Do you remember Johnny West?
Johnny West, no.
He was this hard plastic cowboy. Okay. He was like kind of based on I guess John Wayne.
Okay.
All right. So if G.I. Joe was a foot tall, Johnny West was like 13 and a half inches tall. He was bigger, but he was hard plastic.
Okay.
And he had this real stern look on his face. And he had a rubber hat and a vest. And he was molded in the same color and everything. And like, if you got hit with a Johnny West and you survived, I mean, you earned your wings. You know what I mean? It wasn't like G.I. Joe.
Yes.
And
G.I. Joe was a cool gift.
Yeah. But one year I ended up getting a Johnny West. Me and my brother each got Johnny West and his horse. My brother got the Lone Ranger action figure. I got Lone Ranger. He got Tonto.
Okay.
So he got Tonto's horse, and I got the Lone Ranger's horse. I go to take the Lone Ranger's horse out of the thing, and immediately break the hoof off. Okay, so now the thing bent at the hoofs, and it came with this little platform, so you could put the horse on, and he would stand up, and you put the Lone Ranger on it.
Uh-huh.
So without both his hoofs on the thing, as soon as they stood it up, it just fell right over. And I remember telling my father, like, could you fix this for me? And he's like, how did you break this already? You just took it out of the box. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. So he was like, yeah, you're fucked. You can't fix this. What am I going to do? How am I going to fix this?
You guys get a lot of common gifts. Like when my brother and I were say close to age, like you and Greg, and we would get like if we would either get like if we got like let's say a bike, we both got bikes. If I got a glove, he got a glove. And we got a lot of common gifts or theme stuff. Like you got, Lone Ranger and Greg got Tonto. We would get the same thing. One of us get one character, the other one get another character. There wasn't a lot of imagination from the parents.
No, because the one dude, listen, the only reason we're here is because they were left alone.
That's true.
That's about it. I often wonder how many of us in our circle were truly wanted.
I would tell you that I fit the criteria of not. I was a definite surprise. So I got no doubt with that one.
Well, so when you bring up your question about gifts, okay, if you got a glove, he got a glove. If you got the Lone Ranger, he got Tonto.
Right.
It's clear to see that these gifts were bought with, they'll go over there with them over there and stay out of our hair for a while.
There was no doubt in my mind. Yeah.
Okay, so I want you to think of that. Okay, take Lone Ranger and Tonto and go out west over there in the other fucking room and leave us alone. And that's what it was all about.
100%.
And then as we got a little bit older, we ended up getting different things. Like I got a black and white TV one year. And I remember like the black and white TV. I got a TV. I got my own TV.
Yeah.
A black and white TV. And I had it for the longest time. And one of the greatest things that ever happened to me is once I got my black and white TV, I got sick.
Did you really? Oh.
I got sick, yeah. And I remember having to be home.
Mm-hmm.
And my mother set me up in bed. And she's like, well, might as well put on your little TV. And I was like, wait a minute. I can't go downstairs and watch the color TV? Well, you're sick, so we'll put this on. You have this in your room. And, just stay in your bed and just watch TV.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, I guess. But except when you're watching a 13-inch black and white TV across the room and, the screen looks like this.
Yeah.
And it's across the room. And you remember what the big TV looked like. And you're like, I want to go downstairs and watch that TV. But, it is what it is.
Yeah, we used to watch a 12-inch TV Saturday mornings in our room. We had a black and white, I think it was 13 or 14, maybe 12-inch TV. The big TV was in my parents' bedroom or the living room, which was also their bedroom at the time. And we couldn't watch that one on a Saturday morning. So we used to get up on Saturday and throw the black and white on. It was on top of the dresser and watch Scooby-Doo and Laugh Olympics and Super Friends and all that stuff, and wrestling on Saturday nights that way. So good times.
See, my parents weren't big TV people, so they didn't wake up Saturday morning and watch TV.
No, neither did mine.
So we used to go in the living room and watch whatever they want. I don't even know what they were doing half the time, my mother and father. So they were in the other room doing whatever it is they were doing, and we're inside watching cartoons, just going back and forth, getting toys, bringing them into the living room, and
Yeah.
Probably my mother like, what is this doing out here?
Yeah, I had the same mom. Yep. If it wasn't put away, it was in the garbage. So
One time when we first moved upstairs, I'm thinking about this because years later, this still bothers me. Okay. And this is over 40 years later. It still bothers me. I remember we moved upstairs, moved into Ormond Place.
Okay.
And what was my brother's room, I remember it being painted white with a white floor, and not because it was finished white, because it was floorboards.
Oh.
Yeah, from like the fucking 1900s or whatever, early 1900s, 1800s, whatever.
Okay.
So it was rough. No heat in the room, this, that, and the other thing. So we had a ladder. So in the ladder, me and my brother decided to make it. That was our boat because we each had sailor hats. So I was like 8 years old. He was like 5.5, whatever, 6, whatever. Okay. Mm-hmm. So we got the sailor hats. So sailors have duffel bags, right? And we had a cat. The cat's name was Mittens. So Mittens would shit, in the litter box. So we had to have a duffel bag. So after we used all the litter from the bag, I made a duffel bag out of a bag of cat litter.
Okay.
Okay, which was a pretty big bag at the time. It was whatever, you can't see, but whatever.
Sure.
So I had it all filled up with my sailor essentials and some toys and stuff in there that I felt as though that I would need when I go out to sea.
Yeah, you gotta have some gear with you.
Yeah. So one day my father went up there and decided that he was going to clean the submarine or whatever it is that we were in, the USS. Everything's going out in the fucking garbage, including my duffel bag with my sailor hat and everything else. And by the time I went back, I was like, where's all my stuff? And they were just very adamant. What stuff? The stuff that was in the bag. That's garbage. It's gone. And I'm like, but, and they're like, no, it's gone. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So they threw everything out. The things they left was a Voight basketball.
Okay.
Okay. That I either had the pin and no pump, or the pump and no pin.
We all had the same problem.
Yeah. And I remember like always asking, like, can we get this blown up? Can we get this blown up? And my father's like, well, what do you want me to do? I'm like, well, could we get it blown up? How much? You go to bounce it, like thud. It was like bouncing a rock.
Yes. And I was and all the air would displace and had like And you lift it up and it would drop back. Yeah, I had the same basketball.
Yeah, the only thing it didn't do was like the cake from the Little Rascals. So it was some disheartening shit that happened.
Yes,
when we were younger.
Well, listen, we learned to do with a lot less than the kids today. No phones, no TV, so to speak. Certainly no cable, no Netflix. You got lucky if there was something good to watch on TV. You got lucky.
I remember playing like War on the block when we were younger. This is, I think, before you came around, because it was me and the Bruscos and my brother and the Cloaks. Mm-hmm. And there was always somebody that had a cool gun.
Yes.
Okay. And it was never me. Never once me. Okay. The only time I had a cool gun is when somebody else went out and got a cooler gun.
Yes.
And I was like, can I use the old one? Yeah. And you got the hand-me-down. Exactly.
Yeah.
Most of the times it was like, oh, wow, this stick is cool. I'll use this as a rifle.
Stick, wiffle ball bat.
Yeah.
Some sort of stick out of in your grandfather's basement. You find something that was resembled that you think you can make a gun. Believe me, I've seen it all. I definitely did it all.
Yeah, and then there was always the kid whose gun vibrated. Yes, like, where'd you get that? Mom's bedroom.
Or the kid who had the gun that had the cap in it, so he shot and it made a noise.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was never that kid ever. But listen, we had some fun. We all grew up around each other. And listen, you know what? I would tell you, the funny thing is, I can never tell you that I ever felt bored. We always seem to be able, if I was home by myself or in my yard by myself, I always seem to find a way to keep myself amused. I can never, I'm sure it happened, but I can never say that my youth was boring. We always seemed, we didn't do much, but we never were bored.
Tom, we're running around with a stick, pretending it was a fucking machine gun.
Yeah, I guess you guys, Hard Rocket Sports, Jeff and Tom.
How are you going to be bored if you're thinking a fucking gun is a stick is a machine gun?
It's so true. It's so true.
What was a hockey stick then? A fucking tank?
Yeah. Oh boy, talking about our youth. But yeah, guys, we're here wrapping it up here. Hard Rocket Sports, Jeff and Tom, every Thursday night. We had a lot of fun tonight. Had a lot of fun with Kasim Sulton. Make sure you check out KasimSulton.com. DecoEntertainment.com. He was a good guest. Had a lot of fun with him.
Did you at least tell him I said hello?
I did tell him you said hello.
And what did he say?
He didn't say anything. I don't think he heard me because it was very early on. I said something. Said Jeff won't be with us tonight. Blah blah blah. And then I said something, and I don't know. We talked for a minute. I said, last time we saw you was at Juicy Lucy. He was very, very nice, very complimentary, and a good dude. So make sure you check him out. We'll be back next Thursday night. It's all football again. We'll be talking about each division. We'll go through all the quarterbacks that got a job. Some who are still out there looking. Maybe Cam Newton. Nobody's been named number one over in at San Francisco. We'll see where that's headed. But next Thursday night will be our NFL preview for the season. We'll run through all the divisions, including our beloved Jets and Giants. And we'll be back. We have a guest coming up, Jack Frost. I think is next. I think it's next Thursday as well.
Who the fuck is Jack Frost?
Yeah, he's in Sabotage. He's in a bunch of of bands. Wow. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I'll send you some info on him. I just got that set up.
And real quick, you mentioned San Francisco. Let me ask you something. What kind of a bind is San Francisco in? You got Jimmy Garoppolo, who you would probably rather trade.
Correct.
Than to just outright release.
Yeah,
but once you make the switch over to Trey Lance, what are you going to do with Jimmy Garoppolo? You know you're not going to be able to keep him.
No.
Do you start the season with Trey Lance, or B, start the season with Garoppolo, try to hype him up, get some interest in him, and then trade him, and then hand everything over to Trey Lance?
Yeah, listen. Here's the tough part. Here's what you almost have to hope for: that Jimmy Garoppolo plays really well, but the team sucks, and then you're able to trade him for a lot. Because if you play really well, you can't trade him. If he plays badly, you're going to get nothing for him. He's got like a $14 million salary cap this year. So all you can hope for if you're another team is that he gets released, and then you can pick him up and sign him for a lot less money. Or he'll take less money in a trade to renegotiate his contract. To me, I don't think they've seen enough of Trey Lance to make a decision. So to me, they're too close. They have a good team. I think they're too close to win it. I think Garoppolo's their guy unless he falls apart or gets hurt.
I don't know, dude. You know what? I think there's a lot of things you got to look at, and I think that you have a lot of teams that have quarterbacks.
Yes.
I think you have a lot of teams that have their quarterback in waiting.
Yeah, I agree.
But I don't think you have a lot of teams that are in need of a quarterback.
I would tell you right now, there's not a team out there that I think thinks they need a quarterback at this moment, except for maybe Miami. Miami might think.
Miami might, but I'm talking like
Texas.
Is what happens with Pittsburgh. You know, they're going to go the year with Big Ben. What happens with Minnesota? They're going to go the year with Cousins. These aren't teams that are looking to upgrade their quarterback situation like yesterday.
No, I agree. I agree. I think you're absolutely right. So, but I think there are a few teams that might consider Jimmy Garoppolo an upgrade of what they have right now.
It is possible.
So again, I think that's a very interesting situation. Probably the one quarterback spot. I mean, is Andy Dalton going to start? Is Justin Fields going to start? I think there's some question marks there. But for the most part, Houston, are they going with Tyrod Taylor for the season? Is that how it's going to end? Are they going to try to make a trade? I think there's some interesting takes on that. But we'll explore all of that.
Miami is still interested in him.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. I think there's still some intrigue there. Miami would be all in on it. I think Miami wants Deshaun Watson. The question is right now, Houston wants big money from him. They want I think they want a number one or more than one number one for him.
You'd be insane.
Correct. So I think that's the problem is the price is high and nobody wants to take the shot at it right now. And they're afraid to give him away for nothing and have him go someplace else. And we'll see. But we'll break it all down next week. September 2nd, guys, we've turned into today felt like the fall. And the one thing for me, Jeff, coming up, I realized how much of a Thanksgiving guy I am. I am pumped for Thanksgiving. I can't wait. I just love Thanksgiving. It's football, it's turkey, it's great. And it starts my Christmas season. I'm waiting for my Christmas season to come around.
No, listen, all that means is Thanksgiving lasts about 3 hours, and then we're just going straight to Xmas.
Listen, I love a good Xmas. It means the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. It means Thanksgiving food. It gets your March of the Wooden Soldiers to be on TV.
Is Charlie Brown Thanksgiving a staple in your house?
It's not. It's not. I will watch it, but it's not a staple. Christmas and Halloween are staples.
Do you have either one on hand, or do you have to wait for it to come on?
No, well, again, I could find it tomorrow, whether I go to YouTube or on most of the Netflix, Hulu's, all those places you can grab it. I do not have it on DVR. I did for a little while, but I had to switch out my DVR, and I lost all my stuff. So I really record it.
I have all of that on DVR, but when do you watch it for the first time?
I will only watch them for the first time when they really show up on TV, and then I can watch it additionally. So, like, I can't watch Halloween Charlie Brown today, but once it airs on TV right before or on Halloween, then at that point I can watch it multiple times.
I got to be honest with you. I'm thinking tonight I may watch it.
Oh, listen, everybody's got their thing. I might watch Miracle on 34th Street is my all-time favorite Christmas movie, but I can't bear to watch it until after Thanksgiving. From Thanksgiving on, I can watch it every single day if it's on. But before that, I can't watch it. And same thing with the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. It's got to be very close to Halloween. And the first time they show, whether it's on Halloween or right before, I'll watch it, and I can see it every day after that. But I got to be close enough to the thing. I can't be in the middle of July watching the Great Pumpkin.
No, I hear you on that. But, last week at this time was about 90 degrees. And sucked. Tonight's definitely a little cooler, although it's not chilly.
No, this morning was chilly. I walked out the door this morning, and I got to my job, and it was cold. And I got to the roof of the building, and I was freezing. Thank God I had a long sleeve shirt on. It got warmer as the day went on.
It is 67 degrees now.
That's good sleeping weather.
Mm-hmm.
That's windows open, fan on, and I'm a good sleeping guy.
Well, wait a minute. I got a little good news for you.
Which is?
By 10 p.m., it'll be 66, and the temperature will go like this every hour. 66, 65, 64, 63 at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 60, 62, 61 at 3 and 4 a.m.
Nice.
You ready for this?
Go ahead.
5 a.m., 59.
Oh, I don't like that.
6 a.m., 59. 7 a.m., 59. 8 a.m., 60. And then it starts to shoot up. And it looks like tomorrow may be a high in the low 70s. They're saying 74 tomorrow, with some clouds too.
Yeah, it's a little rough for me walking out the door at 5 a.m. and it being 59 degrees, and it's like, oh man, that's when I start to. When am I going to Florida? That's where it starts.
Well, listen, you know what? I'll tell you what's great about tomorrow night. Okay, it's going to be a little bit chilly.
Yeah.
Right? And you know that tomorrow night there's going to be some college football on.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay. So tomorrow night, when my wife goes downstairs and she's sacked out, sleeping, looking like a neck is broken downstairs in the basement, I get the dog, I take her out, and then we come upstairs and we lay on the bed and we start getting ready for college football season.
Now tomorrow night, Friday night for college football, you got Northwestern, Michigan State, which should be a good game.
That's too big of a game for Friday night.
Let's see, North Carolina, which is a good team, versus Virginia Tech. That's a good game.
That's still too big of a game, but
And
you're heading in the right direction.
and Duke, and I don't know what I must be Charleston. That's an interesting game. I like watching Duke play. So those are the big games for Friday. Saturday, Wisconsin, Penn State is the big game for me. I'll watch that. And Texas and Louisiana Lafayette. I'm going to see if Texas comes back this year. But lots of great college football this weekend. We're a week away from the NFL season. Next Thursday night, Cowboys Buccaneers, which I will have on the screen as Jeff and I do the show. So I'll look forward to that, and a big NFL preview show. Jack Frost. And guys, I hope everybody has a great weekend this weekend. Enjoy your Labor Day barbecues. Jeff, I'm assuming you got to work as usual through the holiday weekend.
Of course.
Well,
now.
any movement on the house situation? I thought I'd ask quick. Nothing.
No,
nothing to speak of. All right,
we have a couple people that are looking to get into it to check it out, but right now I'd have to say, it's status quo. We still own it.
All right. Well, let's.
It is what it is, but we may be canceling all plans as far as trying to sell.
Oh, really?
Because, if we don't sell by a certain date, that we close and we're out of it by October 1st.
Okay.
If we're not involved with something by October 1st, we're going to pull it back until the spring.
Okay, makes
because
sense.
I don't want to have to worry about, Christmas is fucked up this year because we're moving on the 20th.
Yeah, gotcha.
I'm not doing that.
I gotcha. Makes total sense, and tough to do that during the winter time, and people don't want to.
Yeah, that's why we're probably going to put it back up on if we do this the way I planned. Probably March 1st again. We'll throw it up.
Gotcha. Well, let's wish you the best. I hope it happens for you one way or the other, whatever way makes it best for you. And guys, I hope everybody has a great weekend. Thanks to Kasim Sulton, my dad, everybody who checked in, Anthony Carey, a bunch of people on Facebook watching us. Of course, thanks to my partner, Jeff Towinski, who I love doing this with. It's not the same when he's not here.
And that's what Czarism is all about, man.
That's what Czarism is all about. I'm sure maybe next weekend we'll get some Czarisms and make you all head spin and throw up a little bit. But in the meantime, listen, guys, I thank everybody for all their help. And I look forward to doing this again next Thursday night. But you should catch the replay Monday night on sportswire.com, on Sportswire Radio Network, sportitarium.com/player. I'll post it. But thanks to Tom Bryce and everybody over there for replaying it. Jeff, I'll give you the final word. Anything you want to put out there?
No, dude, I think we covered a large variety of stuff in the short time I was able to come on. And a lot of fun as always. Absolutely. I had to bring that up about the wiffle ball and the wet, spongy Nerf coming at you.
Always great. I made some notes. We're going to talk a little Andre the Giant next week. I didn't get it in this week. I'll get it in
next picture,
week.
Right?
That's a classic picture. I have that in the notes for next week. So we'll talk a little bit that when we do a lot of football next Thursday night. So again, guys, for Jeff, myself, and everybody here at Hard Rocket Sports, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend. Enjoy your holiday. And we'll see you here next Thursday night on the Hard Rocket Sports Show. Have fun. Talk to you later, pal.
Later, man.
Good night.
Bye.